Yeah, I mean, actually, the Falcon route, that's pretty good. If you do all that stuff, you'll probably get to Diamond. Alright, giving this guy a call now. Hey, hello, how are you?
Hey man, I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome. So my name's Matt. You can call me Gunday. You can call me Gunday Monday. You can call me whatever you want. I will respond to most things. What can I call you?
You can call me Isaiah.
Isaiah. How do I spell that, by the way?
Isaiah.
IAH. Cool. I can do that. I'm going to screen share with you just so you can see what I am seeing.
Alright.
And if that craps out, because it might, because my internet's poopy, and I'm trying to like push too much internet through it with the streaming and the Netflix and all that stuff going on at once, just let me know, and I'll resend it, and then it'll work.
Alright, it's working, yeah.
Okay, cool. So you sent me this big, long paragraph of stuff you'd like to do. I think the too long didn't read version is you'd like to just get better and figure out what mistakes you're making.
Yeah.
Is there anything specific you'd like to go over? Or do you just want to start general and go from there?
I kind of just want to start general.
Alright, we can do that. So, alright. And you mentioned that you want to work on getting better, so you don't want any, like, cheese to climb. Is that also true?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. We can definitely work on that then. Alright, so usually my first question when I coach new people is, how do you win the game? And I'm looking for very simple answers.
Taking the Nexus.
Yeah, what's the other way you can win the game? There are two correct answers.
Them surrendering.
Now, them surrendering, I tell all my students, there's an art to the trash talk and the bad manners to demoralize the enemy team into just giving up. And that can be an effective strategy, but it doesn't necessarily make you a better player. It's more like psychological warfare. So we're going to ignore that one for now, okay?
Alright.
Yeah, and by the way, I got my Twitch chat going right now, so I'm going to be talking to them every once in a while, especially Notariven. That guy is just too much. But so just ignore them if they're talking shit. Most of them are challengers, so they're too good and know all this stuff and are just sarcastic anyway. But okay, so what do you need to do before you can, right-click the Nexus like you said?
Take down all the towers.
All the towers? All 11 of them?
Well, no. You only have to take down one set of towers and get to the inhibitor, and then the Nexus towers.
Well, yeah, like right before the Nexus towers, and then, like you said, the inhibitor, and then one set of towers in one lane, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so how do you do that?
By pushing up your wave and attacking the tower, taking it down.
Okay, what do you do if the enemy team tries to stop you, and why do you need to push the wave up? Two questions.
You need to push the wave up so the minions take the aggro from the tower and you can attack it safely. And if they try to stop you, you can either, I guess, engage them or call your jungler to help. But basically try to get them out of your way, force them to recall or kill them.
Yeah, get them out of the way by either killing them, forcing them out of the lane, distracting them. Like one of my favorite champions is Singed, and I win games by getting 4 people to chase me on the other side of the map from where my team is pushing. I mean, that's a viable strategy, as weird as that sounds. It's a lot of fun, too. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. So the entire game and our entire talk tonight is going to be around, getting these guys out of your way so you can take this tower, so you can take that tower, so you can take that tower, so you can take that inhibitor, so you can take these 2 Nexus turrets, so you can right-click the Nexus and win the game. And then if you do that enough times in a row before the enemy team does that to you, you'll start getting better and climb. There's a whole bunch of little tricks along the way. So, good. You already have a pretty good head for the game then if you're answering all that right. Like, I've had platinum players that I had to spend like half an hour on that one simple set of questions. So cool. That's a good thing to start. What role do you play?
I usually play jungle, and I was kind of like iffy on my second role. It's between top and ADC.
Top and ADC. Those are both very different, by the way.
That's why I was like, because I like playing ADC, but I feel like it's harder because I kind of have to like synergize with another person. So I was trying to play like just tanks top, mainly Shin.
Yeah, I mean, top lane is interesting. Like, do you ever watch any of the top lane streamers like Dyrus or Wings of Death or anything like that?
Yeah, I watched Dyrus and Hushinshin.
Yeah, those guys are interesting because they can just solo carry pretty hard from top, but at the same time, they have the problem where if their team is feeding horrendously on the other side of the map, that there's often not much they can do if they're in like a stalemate situation where the enemy laner is like evenly matching them. So So it depends how you play and like what you like playing. I guess I was looking at your OP.GG and I saw like there's some Graves, there's a bunch of AD carries mixed in here. You're learning Sejuani, which is fun. I can help you with that because I'm looking at your build and smiling to myself a little at all the improvements we can make. But let me do this. So you want jungle to be your primary role, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pick 3 to 4 champions that you want to play, and then from that I'm going to figure out what your secondary role should probably be, and we'll talk through it. I'm not saying you have to do this. It's the only way. I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking and see if you agree.
All right. Sejuani, Zach, and...
Oh, and Dunzo says hi, by the way. I think you can see his chat.
Yeah. What's up, Dunzo? Yeah, I see him.
Okay, so Sejuani, you said Zach.
And Graves, I guess.
And Graves. You got one more for me?
Oh, Nocturne.
Nocturne. Okay. Why those champions, by the way? And again, I'm asking questions just so I can see kind of where your mindset is. Also, if you hear someone screaming in the background, I think my wife decided to wait for me to start streaming to trim my mini pig Squirtle's hooves. She does not like that, so someone's not getting murdered. Although it sounds like it for me. I don't know if you can even hear that.
Yeah, I can.
One sec. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that, Vet. Apparently, she has a cut on her head, my pig, not my wife, and she is applying medicinal ointment, and the pig freaking hates it. So I think she's done, though. But okay, walk me through. Why these 4?
Well, I like Sejuani because it's really about like you can really dominate team fights with that. So usually well, it doesn't matter if you have a good comp because anyway, you can just dominate team fights with that, and there's so much you can do, and she's really tanky.
Dominate team fights, tanky. What do you mean by so much you can do?
Like you can there's a lot, like I guess not early game, but later game you can well, I kind of meant like she was tanky. Like you can sustain a lot more damage than most junglers.
Sustain a lot of damage. I mean, I'd agree. Like I have about 5,000 games on Sejuani. She's my most played. Like, I think I have more games on her than most people in the world actually have played, even League. And she's really, really good because she's a generalist. She can fill like any comp. You can play her multiple different ways. But it's interesting. I wouldn't agree that she can sustain a lot of damage compared to like other tanks. Like Zach, the next on your list, he can actually survive a lot longer in fights because of all his healing. Gragas, Rek'Sai, same kind of thing. They can heal quite a bit just because of the way their kits work, right? Like, they do a bunch of damages, and as they're using spells or as they're building Fury, the rest of their kit will pick up and heal them for some amount. So she's good at some stuff, bad at others. But yeah, like, her ult, if you land a 5-man ult, that wins you the game. She's super tanky. She can, like, engage, she can disengage, she can do a bunch of stuff. What about Zach? Like, well, why do you have him in here?
Well, he has really like interesting ganks. He can pretty much he can come from a lot of different angles, and then again he has a lot of potential to start team fights and turn them in another tide because of his ult. You can kind of push people. You can kind of get the tanks out of the way, or I guess you could hit the back line to the front line.
Okay.
And then and he's also tanky as well.
Yeah, like, one of the reasons I'm asking is these two are kind of redundant in my mind. I know, and I like that you pointed out that Zach does different things. He can move people around. Sejuani kind of holds people in place. He has interesting ganks, because he can, like, E once he has that leveled up from, like, pretty far away. I think he can E from red into Dragon Pit and, like, hit the dragon once that's fully leveled. His jump, right? So he can use that to just gank from all these goofy angles. So, like, if you're having trouble ganking something like an Anivia that you wouldn't be able to run at normally, Zach's your guy. So it's interesting if you're picking them for, like, those reasons, but I would recommend, like, almost something different. Like, I built a team, not really a team comp, but a jungle pool for one of my other students, And I was like, okay, we're going to give you a whole bunch of options. We're going to do 2 AD, 2 AP, one tank from each one of those, and then, one like assassin damage type champion, like Graves and Nocturne. If you look at these guys here, let's keep going down the list, but be thinking about like why you're picking these champions to play, because usually you want to learn them for very specific reasons. And the reason I'm only asking for 3 or 4 is because if you're trying to like get really, really good at the game, you want to focus on 3 or 4. You don't want to be playing 30 junglers. You want 3 or 4, so you start seeing the same matchups over and over, and you get that like muscle memory in your head about like what you need to do in different situations, because they just keep repeating.
All right.
So that's what I'm thinking about now. Like, try to be thinking about that too. But here, let's keep going down. So why Graves? And I know you play AD carry, so that kind of makes sense to me. But why? Break it down.
All right. I like Graves because, well, he's not a tank, but he does have a pretty crazy amount of I think when you build Death's Dance on him, he does have a pretty good amount of lifesteal, and he does a ton of damage in a very short time. So he's kind of like a bursty AD champion.
Burst AD caster, right?
Yeah, and he has pretty good ganks.
Yeah, and Graves can be tanky,
Yeah.
Like, his true grit actually gives him some extra resistances and stuff. When he uses his E, like you said, if he has Death's Dance, he's healing 15% off of every single one of his abilities. If you get a Phantom Dancer on top of that, or a Maul Malmortius, or a Sterix Gauge, since the shields don't stack one or the other, it's really hard to take him down. You have to focus him down with your team. You have to get, like, an Executioner's Calling to deal with the healing that he's going to be doing. And he's kind of slippery, too, because his E lets him jump over walls. It's just annoying. So I hear you. Lots of damage. He's actually one of the top 3 junglers right now, just from a overpowered kit standpoint. So it's good that you're playing him. The one thing I would mention, like, what is his weakness compared to like Zac or Sejuani?
Well, he kind of can't take as much damage as everybody else, and he doesn't have like any initiation. He's
not like a true tank. I like that he doesn't have any initiation. When you say he doesn't have any initiation, what do you mean?
He can't really start a fight because most of his kit is like dependent on him. Like he doesn't have any big damage abilities or anything that like lets him go in fast. Like if he walks up to somebody, he could.
I disagree with that, because like if you get in to like melee range and they're taking a shotgun to the face, all the pellets, and your Q is hitting walls and your ult is going off, that's a lot of big damage abilities. Would you agree? Or
yeah, well, he doesn't have any like CC either.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah. So no CC. He has like 25% slow on his smoke screen, cool. Whereas Sejuani, like every single ability aside from her W, is CC. Zac, like his Q is slowing people. His E is knocking people up. His ult is bouncing people around. If he gets rhyolized, his W is slowing people over a few seconds. I mean, these guys are completely different, and their jobs are completely different too. So if you had to think about Graves' job as a jungler, what would it be?
I guess getting off damage.
He's a carry jungler. He's just doing the damages. Whereas these guys are more, like you mentioned with Zac, initiation. Sejuani, she can initiate, she can peel, she can just tank stuff. They have different jobs, right? But she's probably not doing damage unless your team is just horrible. But still. Okay, let's keep going. What about Nocturne? What is his role? What does he do? Why do you like playing him? Why is he on this
Nocturne
list?
Because I kind of like split pushing with Nocturne. Like, I guess as an early game, once you hit 6, you have like a lot of potential to gank and kind of catch people off guard. Mm-hmm. Like most times you can gank from like really far away. Like
global ult, right?
Or if you ward the enemy jungle, you can even catch them at one of their buffs and take them down there. So he's kind of like he can take people down really fast. Yeah,
for sure. Like, I usually pick Nocturne. Like if you had to think about his job, what do you think it is? Like, why are you picking Nocturne? What is his job in the team?
I guess he's an assassin. Maybe.
Okay.
Well,
you're not wrong. Keep going.
Also, with his ult, he can kind of disrupt the enemy team as well.
Assassin, disrupt, because his ult makes them poop their pants, because it's the scariest thing ever when like someone just whispers darkness and like freaking 11 in your ear. So The way I think about Nocturne is when there's a high priority target on the enemy team, Nocturne just is there to delete them. Like I learned Nocturne because I was sick of seeing Soraka like on the enemy team. So like I pick him whenever I see a Soraka and my team doesn't have any way to like delete her. Like we have all tanks or all like, or our AD carry is never going to get close enough to like right click her. Like Nocturne's a great pick because like what CC does Soraka have?
Soraka?
Yeah.
All she has is her, I don't know if that's her, I think that's her E, and it basically, like, you have to stand in it for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, her silence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Nocturne can just walk out of that. He also has a spell shield that can block that, and then she has a Q which can slow, and also, you know, you're immune to CC and your ult, so you can pretty much just jump on her. She can't heal herself. You have Executioner's Calling somewhere in your kit, a whole bunch of burst damage, and suddenly their healer's dead. And then you can either run away or you can try to take someone else with you before, you know, the enemy team collapses on your team and loses the resulting 5v4, something like that. So yeah, for sure. Disrupt enemy team. I like picking off a high priority target. So one of the reasons I'm asking is I want to see like what your play style is here. So here you have like tanky initiators. They kind of have the same thing. Here you have Graves, who's going to be like following up and doing a bunch of damage. Here's Nocturne. He's kind of like waiting for someone to screw up and then just jumping in, deleting them. But they're all a little bit different in my opinion. Like do you agree?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, these two kind of the same. But that's good. That's also what you want, because like, why would it be good to have different types of junglers that do different types of jobs and roles when you're trying to climb?
I guess for playing against the enemy team composition and playing with your team composition.
Yeah, you want to fit the different holes, fit the different roles, attack the enemy team's weaknesses, stuff like that. Like, I play Sejuani every game on stream because people tend to like that, and it is not always the best pick. Like, when they have a Trundle or something on the enemy team that just hard counters me. You know, it's just rough. But are there any holes in your team comp here that you think you might need filled? And by team comp, I mean jungle pool. And if you don't, and I'm just asking because it's usually better if you figure out than if I just tell you. But if you don't know, I can tell you what I think too.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess they're all really different, but I don't really know like what I could be.
So what I'm seeing missing, like normally what I recommend to people when they're forming a jungle pool is like 4 champs. Other people will recommend 3. I like 4. You have 2 AP and you have 2 AD. Well, why is it good to have AP and AD?
Just in case your team is gonna be like all the AD or all AP.
Yeah,
or
for sure.
Variety in the team.
Like I've had a Corki bot lane, a Ryze top, and an Anivia mid. Sejuani probably not the best pick. Maybe I want to pick Nocturne or Graves, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, what I recommend is in that 2 AP, I have a tank. Luckily, you have 2 of them, and I generally like having some kind of damage. And I do kind of the same thing down here as well. That's what I would recommend for people to learn anyway. Why does that kind of make sense?
Well, just because, I mean, usually the top lane can be like a tank or a damage dealer, so you need at least 1 tank on your team.
Maybe. I mean, it depends what you're trying to do.
Or, or if you need, or if they're like a support tank, a top lane tank, and you need damage.
Like, I keep running into these games in solo queue over the past couple days where it's like a Riven top, then we get the squishiest support ever, like a Nami or something. And then it's like, I have to play like a tank, otherwise we're going to lose because everyone else picked like these team fighting champions. Like, Riven's going to go in there and try to fight everybody like 1v5, right? So we need something to follow up, and if we don't have tanks, we're not going to survive long enough to win the team fight. So if I pick something wimpy like a Nocturne into that, maybe it works if we can delete the damage faster than they can delete ours, but it might be better just to have a tank and like keep my carries alive longer. So I don't know. That's kind of my thought. So if we're looking at this, do you have this in your pool?
I guess not an AD tank, but well, I guess Sejuani and Zac aren't really. They're kind of both tank.
Yeah, I'd agree. They're both tank. They're both engaged. They both kind of fill the same thing. And you can build them damage, but like Sejuani's best with like 1 damage item that also has health on it, and then straight tank. Zac, you can build him damage, but he dies a lot faster if he's not straight tank. So I don't know. Like I feel like both of these are kind of redundant, and like you can get by with one and not the other, especially since none of them are being banned every game. kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And I mean, don't let me stop you from playing them. I mean, but I would recommend, get some kind of AP damage dealer. Like, do you play anybody else in the jungle?
I don't really play anybody else. I mean, I play Diana in the mid lane, but I don't know how good she is in jungle.
She's okay in the jungle, but she runs into a problem where, like, if you're trying to climb in silver, you can do it. But when does Diana get really, really strong?
Kind of level 6 or...
Yeah, level 6, right? So how long does it take for you to get level 6 in the jungle? Like, how many minutes about?
It's probably like 2 clears or...
Yeah, I think it's like 2 clears and then a camp or a couple minions, something like that, right? So
yeah.
How long does that normally take? Is it like 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes?
It's like 10 to... or a little bit less than like 10 minutes.
Yeah, so like usually around 7 or 8 minutes, something in there, depending on like how crazy you're ganking and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like the go-to AP jungler that everybody recommends is like Elise right now, just because she's really safe and she's really good. I would recommend her. Evelyn's a lot of fun for climbing, and it'll like really let you learn about jungle clears. Because if you're not ganking with her, you're kind of playing her wrong, and you'll fall behind.
Okay.
Echo, I don't think he works in the jungle anymore since his changes. Diana can work, but you got to deal with having that kind of weak early game. Fiddlesticks can work too. Just looking for something with a lot of damage that can help you out early. But we're doing this just so you can fit that. Nidalee might work too, although the recent changes made her a little bit weaker. But just trying to make it so you don't have like, oh, well, I can pick from one of my 4 tanks this game, and then you're just doing the same thing. No, you'd rather be like a Swiss Army knife where, I need this tool for this situation. But I would recommend trying like a Elise, Nid. Both of those are kind of mechanical. A Mumu, if you really like Sejuani and Zac but want to do extra damage, you can build him more AP, and he actually does quite a bit of damage in his kit. Something like that would be pretty good. Fiddlesticks is kind of fun too, because you can build him straight AP and just survive forever.
Alright.
But I would like pick one of those and try it out. And Mumu is by far the easiest. Probably Nidalee and Elise are equally as hard. And Fiddlesticks is just weird to pick up. Once you get the hang of him, he's pretty straightforward.
Alright.
But I would recommend that just to start. Just because you don't have any AP damage built into your thing. And like, yeah, these guys can do damage, but you're not going to be building them AP if you're playing them right. So just something to think about. Now let's look at your AD champs, right? Nocturne and Graves. What do you have?
Pretty much straight up damage.
Although I could make an argument for Graves being tanky, and you can build him like 2 or 3 damage items and then tank. Especially if those damage items are like you mentioned, the Death's Dance, or Phantom Dancer, which is like a damage item and a defense item, or like Sterix Gauge, something like that, right? That gives you a big old shield. So he can be a tank too. It's just he's not like a Rek'Sai or a Hecarim. One of these guys that's going to do a whole bunch of AD damage, but you can still build him like straight tank. So I don't know, like you could stick with this, which is fine. Graves is literally one of the strongest junglers in the game right now, just because he's so easy clear-wise, has so much damage, and he's really hard to deal with. But and like I think his counter right now, he has a few, but nobody plays him. Like can you think of what would really shit on Graves? Or I guess you play him. What do you have trouble with?
I guess I might have trouble with like a Trundle maybe, since Trundle can kind of like block me and kind of screw up my auto attacks maybe.
So he can kite you for a while. His Q steals damage. He can heal forever with his ult. So you think you're about to burst him down, you're on cooldown, then nope, he just clicks one button. So I can see that. You mentioned your auto attacks. Graves and Jhin both have this problem where they have limited auto attacks, and there is one champion who's actually pretty good in the jungle, but nobody likes to play him. That is really, really good against both of them. Like, Graves can't do anything against him in a 1v1. Do you know what it is?
No, I'm not sure.
Have you ever played Pantheon into Graves?
I haven't done that.
He might be fun to try out, because you can build him tanky, you can build him damage. He's really good for climbing, really good for learning, like, map awareness and stuff. But why would Pantheon be really good into Graves? And I'll give you a hint. It has to do with Graves' auto attacks.
I think because Pantheon's his passive blocks every 4 spells.
Yeah, it's
And,
every
like,
4 spells or autos
and then
that Pantheon does, and then his W refreshes it, right?
yeah, and then Graves has how many? 2 shots or
He's got
3 with
2 shots, then his E resets it,
yeah.
which I think is what you're saying. So he's got 3 shots. So if Pantheon is playing optimally, he blocks the first one, gets an auto in or a Q, stuns Graves before the second one. And again, this is if he's like hitting buttons really, really fast, actions per minute wise, and then he gets a few more autos in between the third auto loading, and maybe he can block all 3, or maybe only one gets through.
Yeah.
But it's really hard for Graves to outdamage a Pantheon just because Pantheon has such low cooldowns. Like his Q is doing like 200 base damage every 4 seconds. And then like Graves has to wait for his shotgun to refresh, and then Pantheon is blocking 2/3 of the bullets even if he's not playing optimally. So I don't know, like there are champions like Pantheon that'd be fun to learn. There are champions like Rek'Sai that'd be fun to learn. Hecarim, although I think he's banned constantly, just got a little bit nerfed. But
Yeah.
you might want like an AD tank, and I know Pantheon, you can build him damage, but like he's really good right now out of the jungle as a cooldown reduction tank. Meaning like Warrior, Black Cleaver, you're at 30% CDR from that, then just straight tank.
Okay.
Like he can actually do his job pretty well. But one of these guys might be better than Nocturne, in my opinion. Nocturne's a lot of fun. Like I think I have him close to mastered. Yeah, I got him like level 5. But like I usually only play Nocturne like if there is one target on the enemy team that needs to die and my teammates have no tools to get there, and they picked a bunch of AP champions.
Alright.
So like against the Soraka, great, pick Nocturne. You can definitely get to her, you can definitely delete her. Have fun. But if you're just like picking him like in 1/4 of your games, you're gonna have a hard time winning because he's an old champion of an outdated kit, and there's a lot of mobility that makes it so they can just run away from his fear, and that he can't like get in range to auto attack. If that kind of makes sense.
Alright, yeah.
And again, you can play him. You can do whatever you want. If you want to play AP Sejuani in the jungle, don't let me stop you. I'm just saying, if you want to play and like climb and get a little bit better at the game, picking a better team comp might be better. Picking a better jungle pool might be better.
Alright.
So I would recommend one of these. Try them out, see what you like. Rek'Sai, Graves, and Gragas right now are the 3 strongest junglers. They have counters, there are ways to play against them, but right now with the champs that are being played a lot, those guys are ridiculously strong and their kits are very overpowered compared to other junglers. So I'd highly recommend them. Although Gragas is kind of the same role as Sejuani and Zac, he's just a little bit safer. So I don't know if you want to pick him up or not.
Alright.
But Rek'Sai would be a very solid pickup for you. Hecarim's a lot of fun, and you can build him straight tank and still do whatever you want because he just goes so fast and it's hard to kill. Pantheon would be really good for learning the game, though, just because of his global ult and all the map awareness you'll pick up. So I don't know. And he's kind of like Nocturne, too, because you both have that global ult.
Alright.
But I would recommend one of these guys. Alright, so I'm looking at what you like to play, too, and I'm not really sure, because there's like a whole bunch of different styles. Like you mentioned you like playing Zac and Sejuani, which are like the jump in there and do stuff champions. Graves is like the follow-up champion. Nocturne is like the lurk in the shadows and pick people off. So I was hoping I'd see like a whole bunch of like Kindred and Graves in your jungle pool, and then it'd be like, okay, do AD carry, that's easy. You know, it's like the same role, just in bot lane. But I'm honestly not sure like what your secondary should be. Like I would guess top, actually, just looking at what you're doing. Just because like if you're learning these tanky champions, a lot of the same builds will apply up there. If you're learning these types of champions, you can play all of them top, and it still works.
Alright.
So I would probably recommend top as your secondary role, just because it seems to fit like the junglers you're picking already. And sorry, I'm kind of thinking out loud as I talk to you, but
No, it's fine.
I'd recommend that.
Okay.
Also, it'll help you like learn the game better too, since that's what you're interested. Because there are games where your support will completely lose your lane for you. There are games where your support will completely win your lane for you. Top lane, like it's mostly going to be you. So it's a little bit different. So I would recommend that. Who do you usually play top?
I don't know. I haven't played top lane in a while, but I've been trying to play like Shin top lane because he's really tanky, and plus you can use like your ult to single-handedly save
turn
somebody
games
and
around
change
for
a
sure.
fight. Yeah.
Okay, so here, let's throw that in there. Who else do you play?
I haven't played top lane in a while, but I played
No worries.
Gragas for a while.
Who would you like to play?
I don't know. Yeah, those two are honestly like the top people that I'd like to play in the top lane.
Do you ever play Zac or Sejuani top?
No, I thought Sejuani was like, because she has kind of a weak early game, I thought Sejuani might be like a weird pick for top lane.
No, she does pretty well top. I mean, there are matchups where she gets pooped on. There are matchups where she dominates. Like, I use her as a Fiora counter. There's a Korean challenger player who only plays Sejuani top.
Oh yeah,
And-
I've seen that player.
I mean, there are a lot of ways to play different champions. Reason I'm asking, if you play the same champions top that you do in the jungle, you only have to learn their moves once. Versus here, you have to learn Shen and Gragas, and then when you switch roles in between games, your brain has to kind of switch gears. Like, I don't know, if you play Gragas top, it might be interesting to throw him up here into the mix too. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't know if you played him or not. But, like, if you look at all of these guys, like, Rek'Sai can be played top. She's actually pretty good because she can, like, teleport around of her tunnels once she hits 6 and just be everywhere on the map and be a scary split pusher duelist. Hecarim, if you've seen the Ignite teleport Hecarims, he can still do that. That still works. Pantheon, he can be played mid. He can be played support, jungle, top. He's very flexible. Graves can go top. There are certain matchups where he gets wrecked, you know, like anything that can kite him and keep him at arm's length, like a Ryze or a Jace, you know, he's going to have trouble with, but he does pretty well into, like, certain melee tanks. So, I don't know, man. Like I would recommend, like, busting out your jungle pool top when you can. Like, anybody here could do it. I mean, I've seen Nocturne's top, too, although I wouldn't recommend it.
Alright.
But if you're not sure who to play, try this out. And again, for the same reasons, like you'll be doubling down, learning a champion in 2 roles, and you'll just get a little bit better at them.
Yeah, I played Nocturne top for like a couple games, but I didn't like it as much as like jungle. It was.
Yeah, and I mean, like what is top lane's job usually?
I guess to kind of push more than any other lane.
I guess it depends. Maybe we should talk about that next.
Okay.
So here, this is kind of a good start. I see who you want to play. I see who you need to start learning too, especially because you have too many AP tanks in your jungle pool, which is fine. Like, I love playing the AP tanks too. But, like, if you pick a team that's like, oh, Zac mid, Gragas top, you know, like, your Sejuani isn't really going to cut it, you know? Yeah, you need something else, some kind of damage in there. So there's a bunch of other things. And yeah, your buddy is saying Nocturne top master race. Like, yeah, there are people that just play Nocturne top. Like, I've seen one tricks up there. It can work. You know, once you get your ult, you can definitely gank other lanes and kill them. Anything can work if you're good enough. I'm just saying, if you actually want to get better at the game, like, focus on making your team better and that kind of stuff. It'll help more in the long run than just cheesing people.
Okay.
Someone's recommending Teemo too. Teemo's actually pretty good for solo carrying games, but like the problem with Teemo is he's not really like a team fighting champion, if that makes sense. Like, and I'm just looking at my Twitch chat. Like, he's more of, I'm going to control half of the map. If you try to come find me, I'm going to spam laugh and run you through my shrooms and probably kill most of you if I'm good enough. But if you try to team fight 5v5, usually Teemo is too squishy, and unless he gets some cheese, some surprise of his stealth and the shrooms, it's going to be tough for him to clean up compared to, like, something super tanky that can just take a bunch of damage and jump on the enemy carries. So, I don't know. It depends what your play style is. Like, there are people that only play Tryndamere top and they never leave lane and they climb to diamond just because people don't know how to rotate properly. So, that's stuff we can go over too. Let's do this. So do you see what you need to do with, like, your champ pool to kind of balance it out?
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to take my advice. If you just want to play these, that's fine. It'll just be a little bit harder for you, but you will get better at this role. But get some AP damage. Pick it maybe an 80 tank, and that's just so when they pick all AP on your team, and you have that Corki bot. You know, you actually have 2 types of damage on your team, and someone tanky, or
Wait,
vice
I have a
versa.
question. What about I actually did play some Renekton top.
Yeah.
Is that good? Because I feel like he's good. I feel like he's like, I had a game that like extended way later, and I felt like it was really hard to kind of get damage off with him into the late game.
Well, his job kind of changes too, and we can talk about that. Have you ever looked at this site, champion.gg? I'll throw
Yeah,
in
I
the
use
Skype
that
for you.
a lot.
Okay, so if you're ever not really sure if anything's good or not, just look and see, hey, here's the top, 5-10% of the player base, because it's Platinum Plus ranked in the current patch. Let's see where Renekton is. Let's see what he's doing. And I don't know, people tend to be like, on this site, like I've looked at some of the champions I know really, really well, and the builds are just shit. So sometimes that happens, and that's why the champion isn't doing well. But if we look, he's got a positive win rate. He's above 50%. Win rate by patch, it looks like this patch he got a little bit stronger. Win rate by game length, like you said, he seems to fall off later. Renekton is generally like a lane bully. Like you just delete people early, and as the game goes on long enough, people get tanky enough that you just can't do that anymore. I mean, if you look, it seems like he does a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, just looking at this, seems like he does okay. I mean, sure. Like, there are different champions that you need for different situations. I mean, just looking at that, it seems like he's in a good spot. It seems like he'd be a strong early game presence. So if you have, like, a late game hyper carry bot lane, like Vayne or something, and you need to, like, draw the jungler's attention away from them, pick something like Renekton and just kill the enemy laner over and over again.
Okay.
I mean, that can work for sure. And also, that's nice, because Shen doesn't really have a lot of damage. He's more of that utility support. Gragas is AP, disengage. Renekton is like, I'm going to go in there and, like, eat someone. And I'm going to dash out, because that's my combo. So, yeah, I mean, something like that could work, too. And I'm recommending, like, play your jungle pool top, just so you can learn your champions and get better at, like, less champions, because it'll make you better at the game, because instead of focusing on mechanics, you're focusing on decisions, and that's, like, 90% of this game. But, again, you don't have to listen to me. You can play all 40 champions top. Every single thing that gets whipped out in the LCS if you want to. It's your life, your game. I just wouldn't recommend it.
Alright.
Usually 3 to 4 per role. And if they can double down in multiple roles, like if you want to play Graves top is fantastic. It is great. Like, I would do that, and now you only have to learn them once for 2 roles. Just easier. Okay. I'm a fan of easy. Alright, and since we're doing a general lesson, do you understand the meta, like what that is and how it works and why it exists?
Yeah, I'm kind of familiar with it. I mean, like, are you talking about, like, the current one right now, or are you just talking about it in general?
How about in general, and then tell me what the current one is, because I didn't realize there was a difference. I might learn something tonight.
Well, I mean, isn't the meta in general, isn't just, like, a certain thing that's being followed, like, a certain trend that's being followed within, like, the game?
The meta, the way it's defined in my mind, is the optimal way to play the game.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the way I'm thinking about it is here. Let me scroll down so I get some white space on my notepad for you. But the meta, like it's been for a whole bunch of seasons, has been top lane. You send some like tanky bruiser type champion. Mid lane. What do you see mid lane usually?
AP caster,
some kind of burst damage carry, right? Because you could have Talon, you could have Yasuo. I've seen Riven, seen Zeds, but sometimes AP, sometimes AD, something like that. In the jungle, you have it's just kind of like fill the team comp hole. You have a whole bunch of stuff. You need a tank, throw them in the jungle. You need like some more damage, throw them in there. Need some CC, get it there, right? What about bot lane?
AD carry.
AD carry, and then what else is down there, usually?
Support.
So right now, this structure is how I consider the meta. And there are meta champions that go in and out based on like what else is there, because this game is like a giant rotating rock, paper, scissors thing, only there's 130 different rocks, papers, and scissors. So when like scissors is strong, that's when rocks start coming into play. And then when rocks are strong, that's when paper starts coming into play. And when paper is strong, that's when scissors come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'll see champions cycle in and out depending on how people are playing them. But generally, you got the AD carrying support bottom. You got the jungle just kind of playing a utility role here. You got your damage here. And you got some kind of tanky top laner who could be a frontliner up there. Generally, stuff like that.
Okay.
Dunzo asking if you, I think, can become a teacher at his high school and give him good grades.
He's talking about you.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know where you live. I don't know if I want to do that, but we can definitely talk about video games because this is more fun for me. So break it down for me, Isaiah. Here, let's start with the easiest one. Why is there a jungler? Why don't?
Hold up, one second.
Yeah, sure, man. You can take a break, and if you guys in chat know too, feel free to blurt it out. You can play along at home too. But talking about this is pretty good for understanding, because if you understand the meta and why it exists, you can understand how to abuse it, you can understand how to fine-tune it, you can understand how to optimize it, and all that good stuff, which in the end makes you play better.
Alright, I'm back.
Yeah, welcome back, man. So the question I had thrown out there, and I said chat can try to answer too, is why is there a jungler at all? Why don't you have two people top or mid or bot?
To help all the other lanes, to secure objectives, to...
Okay. Isn't that everybody's job, though?
Yeah, but it is everybody's job, but the jungler can kind of roam around the map and provide assistance to pretty much anybody.
I mean, so can the support, right? Like Bard. Yeah. Bard is literally the roaming caretaker. You know, his E lets him go around. He has a global alt or semi-global because it's like a Ziggs alt range. So it's like, if this is him, you know, he can hit it from like anywhere around here. You know, he can cover some distance, you know. So why do you need a jungler when you got Bard?
So everybody can kind of farm in their lanes. And
okay. What do you mean by that?
Well, so everybody can gain their own experience and get their own gold. So pretty much like everybody gets their own stuff so they can get to the same level.
Okay, well, what do you mean by that? So you're saying the jungler wouldn't be in their lane? Why? Like, why wouldn't the jungler be top lane? And why don't you have two top?
Well, isn't there an XP sharing in lane?
Yeah, do you know how it works? By the way, this is how my teaching works. I ask questions. If you get it, I move on. If you don't, we like sit on it until you get it.
All right. Yeah, I don't know how much it is or how it works.
So let's say you're alone. Let's say it's top laner versus top laner. You're murdering minions. How much of that experience does each one of the top laners get?
They get all of it.
All of it, 100%. Okay, let's say I throw a jungler up here. Like, let's say I just ganked for my top laner, and then I'm just an asshole, so I'm taxing him and taking all his camps, and he's standing right next to me. How much experience do we each get?
It's shared half.
It's actually not shared half. It is shared, but it is 2/3 of the experience to me and 2/3 of the experience to him. So net, it's actually more experience than we would have gotten as a team if he was just by himself taking it. So a way to think about that, if he would have gotten 100 experience, you know, that's all hunky-dory. If I come up there, he's getting 66 experience, I'm getting 66 experience, or 67, you know, if you want to be perfect with the math and the rounding. Add those together, that's more than 100, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's actually more experience if you share it. Now, if you get 3 people up there, yeah, then it starts becoming inefficient, and you guys are just, like, butchering yourselves. I think it's 50-50-50 then, or something ugly. Maybe it's like 40-40-40. I haven't looked in a while. It's not good, and because it's not good, I don't even need to think about it. But 2 people sharing experience isn't the worst, because as a team, you get more than you would otherwise.
Okay.
So that's not really the reason, in my opinion, although it's kind of the reason at the same time. So go along those lines, the experience. Is there a place the jungler could get more experience?
I guess from going to his own camps.
Yeah, because if he's in the jungle, like, how much experience are each of these camps worth?
I don't know exactly.
I mean, it's a bunch, right? Like, if I do 3 camps, I'm level 3, right?
Yeah.
You know, if he does a wave, 2 waves, he's about the same. You know, I think it's after the first wave in a minion. If you're in a solo lane, you get level 2. And then it's like on the 3rd wave, somewhere in there, you get level 3, right? So the reason you have a jungler is just to take advantage. And like Noah Chan said it in chat already. But there's a bunch of gold and experience just sitting in the jungle. And if you send another person top, like you do in those co-op versus AI games when you first start playing the game, you're just letting all this gold and experience sit there and go to waste.
Okay.
So that's the main reason you have a jungler. It's to take advantage of all of these extra resources sitting here in the jungle. And then, like you said, on top of that, they can roam around the entire map and help your team out. You know, which is what your teammates should all be doing anyway, but now they have, like, literally a path to like farm up and get resources that allows them to roam around the map and help your team while they're doing that. So that's the main reason the jungle exists. If you don't have a jungle, what happens? Like, let's say it's 2 top versus a team of a jungle.
Well, the jungler can, I guess the top laner would kind of be pushed back to his tower in most situations, but the jungler can take their camps and get leveled up faster.
Yeah, and actually, will this top laner level up faster or slower than these two guys?
Slower, I'm guessing, because I'm not sure.
If they zone him out of farm, like if the minions
then,
are down here, then yeah, he's completely screwed. Yeah. But if he's like a long-range champion, maybe it's like a Jace or something. This will not let me erase. And he can farm with his abilities, or like a Mundo who's super tanky, has a bunch of health regen, can farm with his cleaver. Or, I don't know, maybe it's a Singe and he just doesn't care and he runs through him and then runs back, you know. But let's say he's in experience range. So these guys are just bad, you know, and they're bad because they have a jungler top anyway. But what's going to happen over time? Is he going to be stronger or weaker than these guys?
I guess he'll be stronger because
why?
He'll be getting 100% of the experience.
And this guy will be only getting 2/3 of it. This guy will be getting 2/3 of it. So this guy will be like level 4. These guys will be like level 2, level 3. This guy will be like level 6. These guys will be like level 4. You see how that works?
Yeah.
So by having that jungler, you take advantage of all this extra gold and experience that would be lost if you sent him top. And then you also make it so, you know, instead of sharing experience up here, this guy's getting 100% of it. So everybody gets stronger faster. So why is getting stronger faster important?
I guess, well, so you can be on the same level as the enemy too. Because like if you, like you said, if you have 2 top, then it'll be kind of uneven. And then so you can, I guess, so your team as a whole is stronger.
Yeah, like it's not to be on the same level. It's actually because you want to be a higher level. You want to have more resources than the enemy team.
Okay.
And again, it goes back to, well, if I'm stronger than you, I can force you out of lane and take your tower. Okay. And then once I do that, I can force you out of lane and take the next tower, and the next tower, and the inhibitor, and then your Nexus towers, and then your Nexus, right?
Yeah.
So the meta is kind of set up in a way where you get the resources as quickly as possible so that you can get stronger, force the enemy team out of lane, and start taking these towers. Like, keep that in the back of your head. That's why all these things are there.
Okay.
So kind of with that in mind, and I think we kind of covered it. Top lane's up there just to get those resources and to guard this tower, because there are 3 lanes worth of towers, which is why we have 3 lanes. You know, they're up there just to do the damage. Why is top lane top? Like, why do we usually send this tanky bruiser top? Why not bot? Why don't we send the AD carry top and the support top?
I'm actually not too sure.
Want me to break it down for you?
Yeah. So
last season, there didn't used to be a thing here that spawned in the early game. This season, there's this thing called the Rift Herald. When does that spawn?
I think 10 minutes, or maybe earlier than that.
Close, 6 minutes, but still. So in the past seasons, when this meta came into effect, there was literally nothing up here in the Baron Pit until 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So there's just nothing here. It's just blank space. Now there's a Rift Herald, but you know, people still send the people top because the Rift Herald is really, really hard to take early. You need 2 people. One of them is going to get really, really low unless it's someone like a Shaco that can tank with his clone, or a Pantheon that can block with his passive, you know, or a Jax that can use his Counter-Strike to block auto attack, something like that, right? So the reason they don't send bot lane and support top is because there's this dragon down here that is very easy for some champs to take. Like Fiddlesticks, I think, can still solo it at level 3. I know Nunu can do it if he has double buffs and the right runes, right? So the reason you see not top lane, you know, tanky bruiser types in the bot lane, but top, is because you'd rather have 2 people guarding this big objective down here. And you'd also rather have, you know, your tanky bruiser guys that are going to need a couple levels to be relevant anyway, kind of away from the action so they can, like, level up. Like, I would rather have a whole bunch of damage and DPS down here so we can take this faster, because maybe as a jungler I come down here and I kill these 2 guys, force them out of lane, I'll be able to take this dragon faster with my AD carry, even though they're, like, kind of a baby, kind of young, still growing, than, you know, my top lane, I don't know, Malphite.
Yeah.
You know, them doing consistent damage, we'll be able to take this and control this objective better. Having a support with wards can keep this, you know, lit up so I can see, like, if people are going for it. Stuff like that, too, right? So the reason bot lane is bot instead of top is because they want to control that dragon. Now, there's another reason that happened 2 patches ago that's very, very important why bot lane is bot. And it has to do with the towers. Do you know what it is?
Did bot tower, does it not have fortification, I think?
Yeah, bot tower no longer has fortification. What else? Also, why is that important? Here, let's start with the fortification, and then we'll move on to why else. But, so, the other towers, I'm assuming, do have fortification then, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how much?
No, I'm not sure.
So these 2 guys, for the first 5 minutes of the game, if you're going to do 100 damage, you're only doing 50. They have 50% damage reduction, and that's that fortification you mentioned. Bot tower, what is the fortification here?
There's none.
There's none. So if you're going to do 100 damage, you're doing 100 damage. Now, there's something on top of that also changed that makes that tower very, very juicy as an objective now. Do you know what it is?
The gold bonus, the first tower bonus.
Yeah, I've been calling it first cement, because it's kind of like first blood, but towers don't bleed. But the first tower to go down nets your team 400 gold. So let's say we put top laners down here. Here, let's do this thought experiment again. I'm moving my bot lane up there, top lane down here. And I kill the enemy top laner, who's now an enemy bot laner because we just move them around. Am I going to have a easier or harder time taking this tower?
A harder time.
Harder. Well, it'd be easier because I'd have 2 people instead of 1 person. And also, like, an AD carry, their job is literally to do damage per second, right?
Yeah.
So that's another reason that you have the AD carry bot now. Kind of makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Alright, so here, actually, I'll just refresh that. That'll be faster. So here, and we're going to talk about what everybody's job is, too. This will help with your team comp, this will help with your theory, this will help stuff. And again, you asked for a general lesson, so if you have any dying, burning questions, by all means interrupt me and ask them. Just because right now I'm just going to keep talking, and hopefully you can learn something, since you didn't really give me much to go with. Because all this stuff is important, and once you understand that, holy shit, this is worth 1,200 gold when I take it, and I can take it in the first 5 minutes of the game, like, you'll probably change your jungle path and start ganking bot a lot more. There's stuff like that.
Okay.
Make America great again. I think there are a few computer experts, but you got to be careful. Whenever anybody's like, hey, do you know computers? Usually that's what the thing that makes every computer expert shrink and, like, run away. Because they're like, I don't want to do bitch work for people that don't understand computers. So be careful, man. Happy Gun Day. Thank you. Happy Monday to you, too. All right, here. Sorry, shiny things, Isaiah. So tell me this. Why is the AD carry bot?
The AD carry is bot. Oh, you mean like specifically?
Yeah,
AD
specifically
carry?
bot, right?
I guess because he has more damage, so he can kind of protect the drag better. Or
yeah, protect the drag better in the tower. That's one reason for sure. But couldn't they also, like, what if you put him mid? Couldn't they also protect the dragon from there? It's like the same distance away, right?
Yeah, I guess, but
that first tower down here kind of makes it a moot point. Like, this is so juicy, you want someone that can take it fast down there. But I can make the argument, why don't you send like a Ziggs mid bot? That takes towers faster than AD carries anyway with their W, their satchel charge. But so ignore that tower for now. Why not send the AD carry mid?
I guess because mid can be ganked easier, maybe.
Actually, yeah, it's less safe. That's a very good reason. So what's different about bot lane compared to mid? And here, let me refresh just so you can see a little bit better.
Bot lane is kind of like there's like it's harder to gank down there. Mid lane's a pretty simple, straightforward lane, and you can literally go from there are a lot of sides that you can come from, but kind of bot lane is like you have a lot of room to get out.
Yeah, mid lane, you can come from both sides. You can jump over walls. If you're Fiddlesticks, you can come from behind people. If you're Zac, like you mentioned, you can come from literally anywhere. So mid lane is a lot more dangerous. So tell me this, are AD carries generally strong or weak early?
They're weak early game.
They're weak early game. When are they strongest, generally?
When they have their items.
Yeah, when they're like 6 items, level 18, right? So you're putting the AD carry bot generally because it's a longer lane, so it's a little bit safer because you have more room to maneuver. Actually, the shorter lane makes mid a little bit safer, but it's, like you said, less gank paths. There's like more certainty. Like if the support ward's here and like here, you can pretty much see 90% of the jungle ganks coming just from that. And they can still come from down here, so it's easier to keep them safe. Also, like we said, they have that tower that you want to keep protected and also take if you can force the enemy bot lane out of the way, and they want to be close to Dragon. But pretty much you want them bot lane just because it's away from the action. Because the jungler, where are they going to be roaming?
Probably all around the jungle, but...
All around the jungle, but where is that always right next to?
Mid.
Mid, right? Not always next to bot. So it's just a little bit safer. They can farm those resources and get to that late game power spike. There's also those juicy objectives down there, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Holy computer talk. All right, you guys do that. Let me know if I can help. I'm just going to keep talking video games. But glad our chat can be useful. That's very nice of you guys. So what's another thing? What is the AD carry's job? Like, why do you even have an AD carry? Why don't you throw like an Anivia or something down there?
I guess for AD damage, like a lot of damage.
Okay, why don't I just have a Zed down there?
Well, range damage.
Okay, range damage. Well, okay, range damage. Why don't I have a Jace down there?
I guess auto attack based.
Jace can auto attack.
Yeah.
From range.
I guess that's the one person who should be like that's the main job though, for the ADC to farm up and kind of deal the most damage.
Yeah, but I mean, why? Like why is it their job? Why can't you do it in the jungle? You're playing Graves. He's got like an AD carry, right?
Yeah.
Well, walk me through it. Argue with me. Like I want you to grapple with it, because then you'll get it and you'll understand.
Okay. Well, I guess like the ADC doesn't really have anything else to do than farm and get stronger.
But I'm saying, why wouldn't you just have another burst assassin bot? Like, instead of, like, you know, maybe I have a Yasuo mid or something like that, or a Veigar mid that's going to be doing a bunch of damage. Why don't I just have another one of those bot? Why don't I throw a Zed bot? You know, that does AD damage, and it's going to delete the enemy AD carry, right?
Well, I mean, the top laner is usually like a bruiser, and then mid lane's kind of like bursty. So you kind of need some balance in between there, kind of like somebody who can attack from long range and who's really strong.
Yeah, you're on the right track. Think of it this way, like a mid lane, we call him a burst damage carry usually. Like let's say Veigar, just for fun. How is Veigar going to kill you?
Probably ult you, or
he's
get
gonna
you from long range.
He's going to drop his stun, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to hit every button on his keyboard.
Yeah.
How often can he do that?
I guess it's kind of like his cooldowns aren't that long, but maybe like every 10 seconds.
Yeah, like every 10 seconds. Burst every 10 seconds. What about top lane bruiser? We mentioned, right? Like what is they're gonna do damage? Like if you're playing Renekton, you're gonna do some damage, right? But what's it gonna look like?
You're dealing like less significant damage, but you can stay alive longer. You can go in.
Yeah, and there are some champions like Darius, you know, he can delete people, but, you know, he has to actually get up there and tank a whole bunch of damage to do it and actually run people down. So the thing about the bruisers, they're usually the front line, they usually get up there, and they're usually ability-based. You can have auto-attacking ones too, like Trundle, he's an auto-attacking bruiser, but, you know, it's hard to actually do that, because if like, Trundle is going to kill you, you actually have to stand there and let him auto-attack you, right?
Yeah.
That's why he has his pillar to slow and trap you. That's why he has his ult, which hits you from long range. His W that speeds him up. His Q that does damage, resets his auto attack, and slows you. You know, he has to like stay in melee range to be effective. Same kind of thing with Darius and the other Juggernauts. They have to like catch you to do the damage, right?
Yeah.
So it's wimpy damage, and even the ones with stronger damage, they still have to gap close to get there. Alright, and then jungle, it could be anything. Like if you're playing a Diana or Fiddlesticks, that's a lot different than if you're playing a Warwick, than if you're playing a Zac, than if you're playing a whatever, right? So that's all over the place. But look at AD carry. How do they do damage, generally?
They stay back and kind of hit the first thing they can.
Yeah, they right-click.
Yeah.
From range, right? And I like that you're saying the first thing they can. You mean they don't just focus the enemy carries?
I mean, they can't get to the back. The enemy carries are usually farther back behind the tanks.
Right, so why don't you just walk through the tanks? We just said they don't do any damage, right? You just walk through.
Super squishy. ADCs can be taken down by probably even bruisers if they have enough CC.
Yeah, like the way I think about it is that if the AD carry has peel, they can take out a tank. If they don't, the tank can take out the AD carry. Like in a 1v1, if I'm playing Sejuani and I'm versus any AD carry and we are evenly farmed, I will win. You know?
Yeah.
But if you have like a support peeling for you or something, and I can't get to you, you are going to do more damage than me. Because while I'm trying to run on you and I'm like running through the Nautilus slows and stuns and all that bullshit, and you're kiting me around and dashing over walls and shit like that, like I'm going to be getting smacked over and over by your auto attacks, and I just can't gap close to use my kit.
Yeah.
So the AD carry's job, the way I think about it, is to do safe damage and to take towers. One of the reasons that AD carries exist is because they are, there are exceptions, but they take towers faster than any other champions.
Okay.
So like in Season 1 of League, do you know what the meta was like then?
No.
It was 5 AD carries. and I'm not saying it was a good meta, it was just that was the optimal strategy people had figured out at the time. And it kind of makes sense because most damage, take the towers the fastest, cool. Then like around Season 2, Season 3, people start figuring out, oh, if we get tanks, we can just survive the AD carry's damage and kill them faster than they can kill us. And then sure, we take towers a little slower, but they're dead. Okay, so then people started doing that. Then you got all these wet noodle fights and these goofy lanes like Scion, Taric, Bot. Back when Scion had a point-and-click stun and Taric had a point-and-click stun, you can chain that and just delete people, and it was horrible. It was nasty. There's a bunch of cheesy things like that. So, but then like some teams and tournaments figured out, okay, what if I only have like one AD carry, and then I have people peel for them, because then I still have that huge damage champion that can do a whole bunch of damage, but now I actually have a team kind of built around keeping them alive. Oh, and then I also have like this burst mage mid that'll be there to kind of, you know, delete the enemy AD carry if they step out of line, or enemy AD carries if they're still running a Season 1 strat because people are bad. You know, there's a bunch of stuff like that happening. And then this meta started forming. But the reason you have at least one of these guys is their job is to do that sustained damage over time. That's another thing I want to add to this too. It's damage over time. Because if we look at these damage patterns, the mid lane, right, it's like every 10 seconds, boom, here's all my cooldowns. The bruiser, you know, he's going to be like smacking you with his stuff every once in a while, but he's mainly there just to keep you off of his carries. The jungle, if you're playing like a Zac or a Sejuani, their job is mainly to engage and set up your team to like win the fight, versus to like go in and do all the damage and stuff. If you're playing something like a Graves or a Nocturne, your job is completely different. It's maybe to delete the AD carry or just to do damage. Like I don't know, but the AD carry, generally their job is to stay safe and right-click as much as possible to optimize their damage output over time.
Okay.
Kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So going back to why they're bot and not mid, there's actually a reason. Because they want a lot of resources, right? Like you said, when are they the strongest?
When they have their full build and they're level 18.
Full build and level 18. Well, why wouldn't you send them mid?
Because they can get ganked, and they can get ganked easily, and they can get...
They could get ganked, sure, but what if you did this? You know, here, you got your support. Like, why do you send the support the AD carry? Why don't you send the support top lane?
Well, because then you have, like, you can peel for them. Like, you can take down the enemy AD carry and keep your carry alive.
Yeah, the support's job is generally to keep your AD carry alive so that they can farm. And then the support's real job is to do anything that your team needs to win. And usually the main part of that job is keeping your AD carry alive so they can farm and hit that late game power spike. But, I mean, why wouldn't you send a support mid and then just have the AD carry here, and then you're good?
Well, again, it's like a shorter lane, I guess, and it's like you can get ganked a lot easier.
I mean, you can get ganked a lot easier, but it's also a shorter lane. Like Faker, really good Korean mid laner. I don't know if you've heard of him. It's like, hey, have you heard of Michael Jordan or LeBron James? You know, but he plays Varus mid. AD carry Varus mid. Have you ever seen him play that?
No.
The way he plays it is he sits right around here. He has flash cleanse, so no one can really like lock him down. His cleanse is on like a 3-minute cooldown, and it's super annoying. And then he has a whole bunch of cooldown reduction in his build and his runes and stuff, and he just shoots an arrow. And then he shoots 2 arrows and he clears the wave. And he just does that over and over, and he gets farmed. Seems weird, but I mean, like, you could send an AD carry mid, maybe. It doesn't have to be that way. But generally, there's a reason, and it's that the mid lane wants something more than the AD carry does. And so but I just want you to think about that, like you could. So it's not that the AD carry couldn't, it's just that someone else likes it more.
I mean, maybe because it's a shorter lane, you can like try to kill them easier, the mid laner.
Well, it's a shorter lane, so that actually means it's like safer, but because, like we said earlier, there's more places to gank from, it kind of balances that safety. Because there's more angles to attack from, there's more uncertainty. Like when you're playing mid lane, how many wards do you have early?
Like what do you mean? Like
vision.
Oh yeah, you only have like 2 on usually like one side.
I mean, like with your trinket, you got like 1, and then it's down for like a minute or 2. Maybe if your jungler's nice, you have another. Maybe. Like there's a lot of dark space on the map. So it's not that safe, because like if you push up past here, like a good jungle, and what I mean by past here, past this line, which is like in the middle of the map, if you cross that line, a good jungler can kill you. Doesn't matter who they're playing, as long as their teammate doesn't DC and isn't at like 1 health or something like that. But yeah, actually, people in chat, Rega has a good point. Blue buff. Like, that's one of the reasons. But, I mean, if you're bot, you know, why can't you just send your mid laner bot and walk up here and get blue buff? Well, if you're playing on the other side of the map, you know, you can't really do that. So that's one reason, right? Like, if your mid lane's down here and your blue buff is here, you can't walk up. So that's one reason. But there's another reason, and it has to do with the length of the lane, actually. You were kind of close to it. Why does the length of the lane matter?
Does it have to do with, like, the minions?
It does.
Oh, well, I guess the minions get there faster.
Yeah, so how often do minions pop out of the Nexus?
Is it every 10 seconds?
That'd be insane. It's every 30.
Okay.
But if you look, you know, to get to mid lane, here's that. To get to bot lane, here's that. If I kind of, like, rotate this here...
Oh, yeah.
So it's maybe about there, right? So which lane do the minions get to faster?
They get to the mid lane faster.
Yeah, for sure. Now, if they're getting to the mid lane faster, what can your mid laner do faster?
Take out the waves.
Take out the waves. Okay, what does that do?
It kind of leaves them space to like roam a bit.
Simple questions, simple answers. Roaming is also very important. That's another reason you want your mid laner mid. Can an AD carry roam very efficiently?
Not really.
Mid lane, if you have something like an Ahri or a Kassadin, you know, and they like go up here, like this guy is suddenly feeling pressure because he could die at any second. And they can go top, they can go mid, they can control this, they can control that. You know, if you have an Ashe walking by herself through the jungle, what's probably going to happen to her?
She's going to get deleted.
She's probably going to get deleted. So roaming is definitely important. But when I'm saying, hey, the minions get here faster, what does that mean the mid laner can do faster? I'm looking for something much simpler. Hey, and your buddy Dunzo just gave me a follow, so my music is going off. Thanks for the follow, Dunzo, executable file. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, here, break it down for me, Isaiah. So what do they do?
Okay, they can clear the wave and then get the gold faster.
Yeah, you get the gold, you get the experience, you level up faster. So when did we say the AD carry gets the strongest?
They get the strongest when they're full build.
Full build, so 6 items, level 18. That is as strong as they're going to get, probably. And there's exceptions, you know, like Draven players are a lot stronger earlier than they are later. But again, it depends on how your team's playing and if they have peel and stuff like that. But generally, you know, if you're playing like a Vayne or a Twitch, they're going to be strongest at level 18 with 6 items compared to early. So if they get to like level 6, you know, are they going to have this huge power spike and they being the AD carries?
No.
I mean, maybe. Like Ashe gets one, right?
Yeah.
Twitch gets his giant spray and pray stuff, which is a pretty big power spike. But compare that to like a mid laner. Which one is more impactful?
The mid laner, they get their they can all in at 6.
Yeah. like we said, most mid laners, like you see generally mid, like the job is like burst damage carry. And we're saying burst because you can go AD, you can go AP, like Zed, you know. He gets 6, he's deleting somebody. And every time that ult's off cooldown, he's going to delete someone again, you know. So the question is, okay, would you rather have your AD carry get to 6 faster, or would you rather have the enemy Zed get to 6 faster? Let's play out this thought experiment. Let's say this orange gem is the Zed, and let's say, you know, supports bot supporting this mid laner, this Veigar, wants him to get farmed, you know, so because every time he farms a minion, he gets some AP for free. But you have your Ashe here. They both hit 6 at the same time. What happens?
Zed would probably ult Ashe and kill her faster than she could deal that damage over time to him.
Yeah, exactly. So, and because remember, when is Ashe the strongest? And again, just saying it over and over, so it sits in. Full build, level 18. These burst mages start getting strong a lot earlier. Their power spikes, is what you call them, happen a lot sooner. And just compared to, like, the AD carry. AD carries are still getting stronger, but it's kind of like a slow, linear climb, maybe exponential for some carries. Yeah. These guys, it's like, hey, I hit 6, time to do things, you know, depending on the champion and stuff. So that's one of the reasons you'll see mid laners mid and those burst champions, because you want them to hit that level 6 power spike as soon as possible, start deleting the enemy team, and then start taking the towers as quickly as possible. Kind of makes sense. And yeah, Rega22 is saying burst damage greater than sustained damage. If we're talking about the rock, paper, scissors of things, sustained damage very good against tanks if you have the peel and stuff like that. Burst damage very good against sustained damage, assuming the burst is big enough to take out that person's health bar. You know, you can't sustain damage if you're dead.
Yeah.
And then tanks very good against burst damage because, you know, cool, you burst me down, I still have 3/4 of my health left. You're cute. Dead. So it's kind of like how you want to think about it. But this is why the mid laners are mid. They want to get all those resources as quickly as possible so they can run around the map, bursting people down. And then once they burst those people down, what are we doing?
Roaming around.
Well,
or
maybe.
Taking the tower.
Taking the tower, yes. Why are we taking the tower instead of roaming around?
So you can get to the Nexus and
exactly
win the game.
Because that's how you win the game. Like, I've been playing Diamond Solo Queue for the past couple days on stream, and I am just horrified at my team's decision-making and stuff, and I need to, like, be playing better and forcing issues personally. Because what ends up happening is, like, we'll kill the enemy team, and then we'll just recall. We won't take that tower. And I'll start taking the tower, and my AD carry will AFK and start stealing my jungle camps from me and stuff like that, because he's mad. This is supposed to be in Diamond when people understand the game. Like there's some shenanigans. People don't understand this stuff. But if you figure it out, and you're like, wow, we just started taking all these towers. Like, here, I don't think we've talked about this. How much is this first tower? Like, let's say you get the first cement blood. You know?
It's 400 extra gold.
400 extra gold. How much is the regular tower itself worth?
I'm not sure. I thought you said 1,200 gold.
Yeah, that's not exactly right, but I'm rounding. But it's 1150 gold if you count that first cement. The reason is when you take that first tower, the outer tower, everyone on your team gets 100 gold. There's 5 teammates. 5 times 100 is 500. And then everybody near that tower gets 250 gold, split up evenly by however many people are by. So if there's 2 people, it's 125, 125. If there's 1, it's 250. And then if you kill the first one, you get 400. So that's pretty much a swing of like 3 kills just by taking that tower first. It's really, really good.
Okay.
So this one, figure every one of these towers, like about 800 gold, 750, but rounding up. And realize that if you're taking that tower, you're probably taking the minions and stuff too. So that's another 100 or 200 gold. And you're denying the enemy team minions because the tower's probably killing them while you're taking it. So that's 100 or 200 gold minus from them. So that's another swing in your favor. But the reason you want this guy strong, your mid laner strong, is so they can delete people. And then you can take those towers. And the sooner they can start deleting people, the sooner they are out of your way and you can start taking towers.
Okay.
So this is kind of why the meta's here. Now we haven't talked about the support yet. Why is the support bot?
To help out the squishy AD carry, because they have like kind of a crappy early game.
Yeah, like AD carry, generally the weakest early game out of everybody. And every AD carry that I've had on my team thinks exactly the opposite. You know, and they're trying to like tower dive and flash into towers and makes these beautiful plays that fail more often than not. The support is there to kind of like stop them from doing that and to stop being dumb and to farm and just get to their late game 6-item level 18 power spike. So
Okay.
mainly they're down there just to make sure the AD carry doesn't get destroyed. So like if the enemy jungler's camping, for example, you know, like maybe it's a Lee Sin who's just a god and he's doing like all this crazy shit where he ward jumps over the wall and then flashes in and like kicks people back. You know, the support's there to kind of stop that shit from happening. Because if you just leave the AD carry by itself, maybe the support goes mid, right? Just because we don't know what we're doing. We're making our own meta. Oh, what's going to happen to the mid laner if we send a support mid?
The mid laner will gain experience slower.
Yeah,
and
2/3 of the experience. Granted, the support will get more, so as a team you're getting more. AD carry will get more experience, but if they're by themselves, it's very easy to die if there's 3 people versus 1, right?
Yeah.
So that's the main reason. This guy is like the weakest, most fragile person on your team early. So you want to put a champion that is really, really strong early down there to kind of counterbalance and make sure they can farm.
Okay.
And yeah, like Chad is saying, support is there to make the AD carry look good. Support is there to make the AD carry not look bad, is how I would phrase it, Rega. Let's put it that way. So what kind of support champions are there, and why do they exist? Like, why don't you see a lot of, like, Zed support?
Well, the main job for the support is to keep the ADC alive. And, like, Zed...
Let me rephrase. I know I said that the main job for the support is to do anything your team needs to win.
Okay.
As weird as that sounds. Now, generally, early game, that is keeping the AD carry safe, because the AD carry is a very important source of damage late game. If your AD carry is not fed and theirs is, it's going to be really hard to win team fights. So, and vice versa. If yours is fed and theirs isn't, it's going to be really easy. So that's why we allocate a full 1/5 of the team down there just to make sure the AD carry doesn't do something stupid and die a whole bunch. Which is why I get so salty whenever my team like dies for no reason in 2v2s early without any jungle pressure. I'm just like, what are you doing? But anyway, so the support's job is to do whatever your team needs to win.
Alright.
Because that could be vision, that could be tanking dragon, that could be like dying to a tower so that, you know, your AD carry lives long enough so that he can survive after the one team fight and take the tower. It could be all these things. But it's not necessarily to keep the AD carry alive. It's just usually that fits into the larger umbrella of anything your team needs to win, because he's just such an important source of damage.
Alright.
Sorry, I don't want to like create monsters that are like, your job is to do whatever I want, because I've had AD carries that think that of their supports. I mean, that is not the case.
Alright.
So going back to that, why don't we have like a Zed bot as a support?
Well, I mean, Zed can't really do anything to get an enemy off of the
What do you mean? I got Ignite, I got my Doran's Blade.
Well, like
When I hit 6, I'm going to have my ult.
somebody with like CC to kind of like give the ADC time to run back, or like somebody with like Nami or Soraka who can heal them and keep them alive.
Yeah, there are different kind of supports. Like there are kill lane supports. Like, can you think of any of those? Do you know what I mean by kill lane?
That you're trying to like go for a kill, I guess. Like,
You're in lane to get a kill, because if the enemy team is dead, they can't mess with your AD carry, and it's a lot easier to farm. Think of it that way. So like yeah, I think you were about to say Blitzcrank, right?
yeah.
So why Blitzcrank?
Well, Blitzcrank is really good at engaging, so he can kind of like grab them and
Yeah.
you
He's
can
got
deal
that
all the
hook,
damage
right?
to them. Yeah.
And he doesn't have a lot of damage, but he's super tanky. And, you know, he just grab people, pull them into certain death. If he pulls them under tower, they're probably going to die, because towers do a lot of damage early. And he can pull them and set up jungle ganks pretty easily. Yeah, he's pretty scary. There's something... So he's like a kill lane. You mentioned the Janna and Soraka and the Namis, right? Those are more babysitting supports. It's like a Janna, unless she's just god tier good. Is she ever going to be able to kill you?
Not really, no.
Not really. I mean, you always have the Jannas that will like flash behind you and ult you into tower range and then tornado you to like keep you up there, but Janna isn't known for doing that, because it's really hard to do that. With Blitz, it's like, hey, I threw my Q out, I pulled someone. I did it, you guys, we did it. You know, and I don't know, I missed, whatever, I can do it again every 8 seconds or whatever, because I got cooldown reduction runes. With Janna, it's like, well, I blew my flash. See you in 5 minutes. So, again, like, you can do it, it's just harder and the time windows aren't there, right?
Yeah.
So there's stuff like that. And yeah, I see people are talking about the ARAM builds, but there's another reason that supports exist. So tell me about, and again, there are different types of supports. Like, I like playing, like, I actually play a lot of Sejuani support, although, like, at the MMR I'm at right now, my team is more likely to AFK and then use it properly. Just because if anyone ever tries to engage on me, I can just peel and I will out-damage them, and I'll usually out-level and out-scale the enemy support, which is a lot of fun. I've gotten to Diamond 2 seasons in a row playing just Sejuani support, which is funny on a few accounts. But anyway, sorry, I digress. Like, you can have different types of supports. Generally, what is the cookie-cutter recipe for a good support? If you had to describe one, my friend.
If they have kind of like CC or a heal, something to like
some kind of ability that's useful, that keeps your AD carry safe or helps your team, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
I guess they have like a bit of mobility to get away. Like, it's not always, but they can kind of like move around.
Mobility can be good, but at the same time, I can argue Leona is going to, like, literally tower dive.
Yeah.
Nautilus has the slowest mobility in the game. He has the slowest base movement speed in the game out of all champions. But you see him as a support. So
they can engage or disengage.
Engage is good, disengage is good, and again, it depends if you're trying to be like, what you're trying to fill. Because, like, with a team fight, right, if you have, like, a Sejuani or a Zac, do you need engage on your support? No, probably not. I mean, it depends what the enemy team has, too.
Yeah.
Depends what kind of comp you're going for. Like, I hate playing with Janna supports, personally, because usually if I engage as a Sejuani, the Janna can't really follow up and do anything for me. So, like, normally I'd rather have something like a Leona, where, like, oh, I landed a perfect 5-person ult, and hey, Leona then chained her ult and got a 5-person ult, and they're stunned for, like, 4 seconds. And the entire time, my AD carry's right-clicking them, and it's easy, and it's great, and it's fun. With Janna, it's like, cool, I landed a 5-person ult. No one was close enough to follow up. She shielded me. Alright, we didn't do anything. Yay. But yeah, something like Peel, something like their abilities are useful. I'm looking for another piece, though. So let me see if I can get you to it. Who is getting the farm and resources bot lane? How does it work?
The ADC is getting the farm.
Well, I don't know. They're sharing experience, right?
Yeah, they're getting the gold from the minions.
They're getting the gold from the minions. So why is that important? Why don't you want to give the gold to your support?
Well, I mean, doesn't your support usually buy, like, kind of cheaper items than the ADC? And the ADC needs to get their items as fast as possible.
Why does the support buy cheaper items? Like I've played with support, so like, oh, my support is trying to farm. That's cute. But they're playing like Janna or something, like full AP Janna, you know?
The supports don't really, like, I guess they don't need it if their ADC is already getting, like, items and they already have a tank and they have...
Well, think of it this way, Close. You want the AD carry to have all the gold, right? Because what do we say, when is the AD carry the strongest?
Level 18 and full build.
Level 18 and full build. How do you get to full build faster?
Getting the gold.
Getting the gold. So if you're sharing the gold, are you going to get to level 18 with 6 items faster or slower? Slower. So if you give all the gold, you're going to get 6 items faster because you're just getting more gold, right?
Yeah.
So because of that, our support's going to be taking gold. And again, just enforcing the meta, you want that really strong carry coming out of bot lane. Probably not, right?
Right.
So if they're not going to be getting gold, that's one reason they have cheaper items, because they just don't have as much gold. What else do they need to be able to do? You see what I'm getting at?
I mean, not really. Like,
so think of it this way: if you don't have any gold, and you're playing Zed support, how much damage are you gonna do?
You have no damage at all, pretty much, because you have no items.
Because you have no items. Because Zed is like pretty item dependent. He needs gold to snowball and do all the things. And if someone's like moderately tanky or buys his Zonias, he's just kind of boned. So as a support, you need to be able to do your job without gold. Think of it that way. And your job is anything to help the team. So if it's like engage, it means, cool, I have to be able to hook with Blitzcrank. Do I need gold to hook with Blitzcrank?
Nope.
No, I just need my Q to be off cooldown and a little bit of mana, right?
Yeah.
So with Janna, if my job is to peel and keep people off my AD carry, do I need gold for that?
Nope, not much.
No, why?
Because you already have it in your abilities. You don't really need damage to...
No, not at all. I don't need gold at all, though gold does make my abilities better, for sure. But generally as a support, you'll see champions that can do a lot of things without very much gold. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And you mentioned mobility. Yeah, mobility is great. Like, Bard is amazing, because, like, let's say my AD carry backs. He's like, hey, I gotta buy my BF sword. And you're like, oh, I'm full health, full mana, and I need 100 more gold for my Sightstone. I don't want to back up, he's gone. You know, if you have mobility boots or your Bard and can just magical journey through all the terrain, cool, now I can roam mid and maybe I gank mid. You know, I'm helping my team win by doing things, by applying pressure. Oh, maybe I can go into the enemy jungle and put wards that are deep so I can give a whole bunch of information, you know? Can do a bunch of things, right? So, like, mobility is important too, but that's just like one thing. Like, maybe you don't care about mobility because your job is going to be to stand right on top of your Kog'Maw all game and make sure that the Rengar, when he ults, doesn't actually jump on him because you're Janna, you know, or you're Morgana, something like that. It just depends on the specific game and what your specific job is. But think about supports. They are bot lane because they are super strong early and they don't need gold to stay useful.
I guess they need abilities that are actually, like, yeah, abilities that are useful without damage, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's kind of to complement that AD carry, because, like, when is the AD carry strongest again? I've said it like 6 times, but...
Full build, level 18.
When is the support strongest?
Early game?
Yeah, level 1 through, like, 6 usually. That is your lane. You are... The support, that is their domain. They control the tempo, they control all the things. You are at their mercy, be it you're on their team or the enemy team. They are probably the strongest champion in the game, level 1. And there are, you know, different things, but usually you're picking a support because they have insanely good abilities early. So, like, if you hit level 3, you know, you have 3 really strong abilities out there. Like Blitzcrank, think about him again, right? He hooks someone, and then he pops them up, and then he also has, like, a speed boost so that he can get in a position to hook people up. You know, it doesn't cost him any gold, he just has to hit level 3, which isn't that hard to do. And, you know, you can win games with just one hook, and you don't need a single penny or whatever their currency is to do that. So the support, you know, very, very strong early game, which complements nicely to this guy who is really, really weak early game. And then as the support falls off, this guy picks up. And also as the support falls off, mid lane picks up. You know, or maybe top lane turns on, or the jungle turns on. Depends who you're playing, right? Like if Sejuani hits 6, she unlocks that big giant ultimate. Maybe the support is Nami, like you said earlier, and she gets that ultimate. Now you have that nice little wombo combo that also speeds up your team. You know, but you generally try to pick these team comps where you fill the holes. You fill the areas where your team is lacking. So, like, if you have, like, a Kog'Maw on your team, there are team comps that are just literally protect the Kog'Maw because he can 1v5 if given enough time to do damage. The teammates are all about making sure Kog'Maw stays alive. So you'll see stuff like Nunu jungle, Lulu support, maybe Lulu mid, actually, so she can actually get AP and gold to make the shields bigger. Maybe Janna support, give him a shield for extra AD and an extra peel and healing. Top lane might be a Shen, again, extra shield, something like that, right?
Yeah.
But those comps are specifically designed to be like, okay, we're going to get to a certain point of the game where we can win by deleting you and then taking all your towers. Stuff like that. Oh, Lastio, you're going to donate? Don't worry about that, man. Just you being here enough. It's enough for me. Don't even worry about it. But think about it that way. That's why people are where they are currently in the meta, which is, again, the optimal way people have figured out how to play the game. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Alright, so as a jungler... And hey, Red Obby just followed. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Enjoy the dancing Meeseeks. I'm coaching the guy right now, so apologies if I'm ignoring you guys. We'll be done pretty soon, I think, though. Usually these only go for 2 hours because people get tired of listening to me. But alright, Isaiah, so as a jungler, why is this important to think about? Why does this shit matter? Why am I wasting your time with this?
So you can realize how all of the lanes work and which ones it's best to try to gank. So
exactly.
You can optimize, like, who's getting the kills and how fast you can take the towers.
Exactly. My favorite example to run through is, let's say you have a Malphite top. Okay, this is your Malphite top. Generally, what is Malphite's job?
I guess to kind of set up and engage for the team to follow up on.
How does he do that?
with his ultimate.
How does he use his ultimate to set up the engage? Is it tricky? Is it hard to do?
It's point and click.
He clicks a button, right?
Yep.
So does he need a lot of gold and kills to click R?
Nope.
What does he need?
All he needs is level 6.
All he needs is level 6. So as a jungler, are you going to go top at all when you have a Malphite on your team?
No, not a lot.
Probably not. Maybe if you're nice and you're like, oh, this guy's just free because he's up too far. He's got 200 health. You know, I know that there aren't any wards up here because we have this for some reason. And maybe I want to give Rift Herald to Malphite just because, you know, I already took Dragon and took all these extra towers and we want to start working on this. But generally, you know, it doesn't make sense to go top because, cool, you gank top and Malphite got a kill. Does that help him do his job?
No.
No, he could already do his job just fine. Now, as a jungler, you have limited time. So let's say you had that Kog'Maw bot, right? And you had something like, I don't know. Let's say instead of you have a Nautilus. Nautilus actually got some buffs. He's insanely good now because of how they changed his ultimate.
Yeah.
But let's say you have a Nautilus and a Kog'Maw and everybody just hits 6. So you can choose right now between getting a guaranteed kill top or a guaranteed kill bot. And maybe like one of them gets away. It doesn't matter who. Which one do you do and why?
Bot lane, because I guess you can put them ahead in gold and you can get the tower faster.
Yeah. So like if you kill this guy, is Malphite gonna be able to take that tower pretty quickly?
No, not really.
Nah, it's gonna be slow and painful to watch. If you kill bot lane and, you know, the support runs away with their tail between the legs, AD carry's dead. Faster or slower than Malphite taking the tower, just comparatively?
Faster.
Why?
Because first of all, the tower has no fortification, and then you can just
if we're level 6, it's past 5 minutes, so all the towers, the fortification's gone. But yeah, okay. So
they have more damage.
If it's 4 minutes and 59 seconds, you're right. So good. It's good that you're picking up on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, more people, because supports can right-click towers too. Your AD carry is literally a champion picked to take towers with sustained damage over time, so it's good. And also, if we've been saying it over and over, if you give them a kill, what is that pushing them towards?
They get closer to full build and closer to reaching 18.
Yep, close to their late game power spike. Red Op, if you want coaching, there's a link down below the stream. I do it for free, although I am pretty much booked for the next month or two. But throw in, shoot me a message. We'll work something out, man. Yeah, exactly. So, Isaiah, going back to you. Sorry, shiny things in Twitch. But by all means, you want to prioritize who you are ganking for. And understanding the meta like kind of helps you figure out these win conditions is what we call them. You know, so maybe if you have a Kog'Maw on your team, your win condition is make it so he deletes everybody. And that might be making it so your Shen top, not your Malphite, gets 6 so he can just click R on him. You know, you make it so he gets his core items so that, cool, you keep him alive for 10 seconds while he's actually doing damage and winning you the team fight. You know, so generally you would want to put a lot of pressure on him, bot, to like get those kills. Now, at the same time, like, maybe it's a really passive lane, like the enemy team has, like, a Soraka, and it's, like, an Ezreal bot, something like that doesn't have a lot of kill potential. Maybe you just leave them alone and let them farm. I don't know, because at the same time, if he farms up, who's going to be doing more damage, Ezreal or Kog'Maw?
Kog'Maw.
Probably Kog'Maw, right?
Yeah.
If they're just sitting there right-clicking each other, probably Kog'Maw is going to win that battle. All things equal.
So, like, I have a specific question.
Yeah, what's up?
I played a game, it was an Akali top and then a Vayne bottom.
Uh-huh.
Would it be alright to, like, try to camp for the Akali so she can get her items and let the Vayne just farm up?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it depends how the Vayne is playing, and it depends what the enemy jungler is doing, it depends what the enemy team is doing. If they're sending, like, 4 people bot to gank the Vayne over and over again, maybe you want to do something to stop that. But if the Vayne is, like, let's say she's this orange A, and they're just farming right here, and the enemy team can't do anything, and they have the lane perfectly frozen right here, there is no reason to ruin a good thing. If you have the one Vayne that isn't aggressive and bad in the entire player base, by all means, let them play smart, you know?
Yeah.
So stuff like that. Guys, I see you asking questions. I'll answer everything when I'm done. I think we're going to finish up in the next 20 minutes or so, just because 2 hours is a long time, and I think Isaiah might be sick of me.
That's fine.
But I will keep going until you are satisfied, sir. I'm just saying, people are asking about a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm ignoring them because I'm trying not to be rude to you. But yeah, so I would think about it this way. What is Akali's job? What is Vayne's job in that situation? Is it in your match history?
I think it might be. Hold up. Yeah, it's in my match history because that was like a couple days ago.
I'm looking for it. So 3 days ago, I see a Vayne. If you see it, just yell at me. We're screen sharing, right?
Yeah.
This one here, I see Akali and Jinx.
No, it was like farther down than that. I think we won that game.
All right, looking for a win. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. I don't know, man. If you see it, let me know.
Yeah, it was this one. Yeah.
This one? This one?
No,
oh, here.
Yeah.
All right, so the reason I'm saying, hey, let's look at the actual game is it kind of matters, like, what their jobs are. So let's look at their team. So tell me about their team real quick. Draven, squishy or tanky?
He's squishy.
It's pretty squishy. LeBlanc, squishy or tanky?
Squishy.
Kennen, squishy or tanky?
Squishy.
Morgana, squishy or tanky?
Squishy.
Lee Sin, squishy or tanky? Granted, he's building mostly full damage.
Then he's squishy.
Then he's squishy, right? So who will do better against squishies, Vayne or Akali?
Akali.
I think so too. Do you know what Vayne does really, really well against?
Tanks, because she can do the true damage.
Yeah, she kills anything in the game in 9 auto attacks with her percent health true damage, which is complete bullshit, and I hate that champion because I love playing tanks. So, Vayne would be amazing if this was like a Maokai. You know, if they had a Zac jungle. I would probably want to snowball Vayne, because is Akali going to be able to kill the tanks quickly?
No.
No. Akali's job is to delete squishies. That's like why that champion exists. So the fact that her lane opponent is a squishy, and the fact that pretty much the entire enemy team is a squishy, granted, people did start building some tank items. Kennen's got his Zonias and his Abyssal Scepter, which are tank items now, as weird as that is. Because they have the resistance, they have the invulnerability, stuff like that. They have less damage compared to other damage items. But still, they're mostly squishy. I think in this situation, it would be a fantastic idea to go top and snowball the Akali, just because they don't have tanks on the enemy team, and Akali is better at deleting people than Vayne. Now, who does the most damage to towers, Vayne or Akali?
Vayne.
Probably Vayne. I would agree with you there, although it might be close. This Akali is insanely fed this game.
Yeah.
But I think it was a good call to snowball top here if you did that. Oh, this is tank Akali, too. I feel bad for that enemy team. They had no way to kill her. But yeah, so the correct answer is it depends. Again, if they had like a Nautilus support bot, a Zac jungle, something with lockdown top, like a Maokai, probably want to get your Vayne up there, because Akali is just going to die when she jumps in if that's the case, from all that crowd control. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Red Hoppy asking, I can coach everything. I have like a couple thousand games in the jungle support are my main roles, but I know how to play the other ones. I can definitely give you an overview. I can definitely tell you how to play those roles at a diamond level, but if you're looking to get like challenger coaching on like mid lane mechanics, I will refer you to better coaches than myself. But I can get you started, I can point you in the right direction. Plus it's free, so whatever, man. So hope that helps. Alright, going back to you though, my friend. So does that make sense for your specific question?
Yeah, it does.
Alright, cool. And yeah, it depends. And understanding people's jobs and what they need to do. Because remember, the whole point of this is we're deleting the enemy team so that we can right-click towers. So who helps me do that the best? And it depends on what the enemy team is throwing at you.
Okay.
So in that situation, hey, Team Squishy, yeah, feed the Akali monster. If they had tanks, remember, tanks counter those burst damages. Maybe feed the Vayne, who's literally the tank counter, because 9 auto attacks and you're dead.
Alright.
Make sense?
Yep.
Alright, cool. So, important to understand this stuff, just so you can answer questions like that, actually. And so you can answer questions like that quickly, too. So, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. We were talking about some, and the random question came in, which is completely fine. But I forgot what I was going to say. So, I don't know. What do you want to do with the last, 10, 15 minutes or so? So I feel like we went over a bunch of stuff, and I don't really want to overload you.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like this. This was really informative.
Okay, good. Was this helpful?
Yeah, it definitely was.
Normally people come to me and they're like, here are 3 to 4 things that I specifically want to go over and nothing else. So you gave me room to freestyle, and I wasn't really sure where it was going to go.
Yeah, I just wanted some general knowledge, and honestly, anything's better. I just want to learning this stuff was really important, so now I can kind of try to focus my priorities.
Yeah, 90% of this game is decision making. Bad players will tell you otherwise, but only 10% of it is mechanics and doing the crazy insect big plays. But 90% of this game is won by making less mistakes than the enemy team and being in the right place at the right time because you understand what you need to do to win. And now it's going to be tough because most of the player base doesn't realize that and they think they're playing Call of Duty or whatever. But as you climb, people will get smarter and will get better and will understand that a little bit more.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe we can do kind of an example. Here, I had your op.gg up and then I completely moved it. Let's see if it's still up. It is not. What was your name again? LSDDD or something?
LSD with 3s, yeah.
There we go, thank you. Actually, it's in here. I can just click it. But here, pick one of your random games,
It doesn't matter, just anything.
All right, let me get one of a good team comp. I'm refreshing this to you just so we can see something that's fresh in your mind. You want to go over this Jin game where it looks like your team didn't appeal for you?
That was just a troll game. Me and my friend were screwing around.
Okay, let's do ranked then. Alright. That looks like a stomp. You had a 36 KDA. Let's do this one.
Alright.
Alright, what I'm going to do is just be okay, looking at this, what tools do your team have? What do you think they want to be doing? Quinn 80 carry, it looks like. New champ Kled top, LeBlanc mid, then you're the lone tank in the jungle. Although, no, Kled build kind of tanky. That's weird. That build makes sense, though. Okay. And their team looks like Jin, Soraka bot, Katarina mid, Nar top, Nidalee jungle.
So they kind of only had, one tank, but they had, I felt like bot lane might be a little hard because they have Soraka's kind of hard to play against.
Mm-hmm.
But that lane was kind of, I feel like the bot lane is kind of a kill lane with Blitzcrank, and Quinn does a lot of damage with just her passive and her she can engage really good.
So I would have probably camped bot this game, just looking at this, because if I look mid, Katarina shouldn't be able to do anything to LeBlanc unless she just plays horribly. And LeBlanc shouldn't be able to do anything to Katarina because she can always just dash away. You'll have to bait the Katarina into all inning if you're ever going to get anything.
Yeah, no, so LeBlanc was kind of dominating Katarina early game.
Yeah, that's what should happen. So you probably just want to let that be. Top lane, Gnar versus the new champ. I think Gnar beats him just because it's range versus melee.
Yeah, that's pretty much what was happening. So I did try to focus on bot lane since mid was doing well.
Yeah, for sure.
I tried to come down there. I think the Nidalee was just giving a lot of pressure bot lane as well. So it was kind of hard to get off anything without or get any sums or a kill or pretty much anything. She was doing pretty good.
So don't worry about that. Now she figures, okay, well Gnar's gonna win top by himself. Katarina's getting dumpstered mid, and think about it from Nid's perspective. If she ganks the LeBlanc, is she gonna get anything?
No.
Why not?
Because LeBlanc's pretty strong because she's already getting fed off of this Katarina.
Yeah, so she already has a couple kills, it sounds like. And also, if Nid tries to gank and she still has her cooldowns, what's LeBlanc going to do as soon as Nid jumps in?
She's just going to jump away.
She's going to blink away. If she has her ult, she can take her blink off cooldown because her ult lets her do another one of her abilities again. Even if Nid comes in to kill her, she goes invisible for a second and can, juke around for clone while her cooldowns come back up. It's just going to be a freaking nightmare. Also, because she's so dashy and blinky, it's hard for Nidalee to land skill shots, and they don't have any CC to lock the LeBlanc down. Actually, their entire team doesn't have any CC. It'd be Gnar stunned into a wall, or Jin lands a snare on a champion that can blink after Soraka's silences. I mean, it's not going to be easy to lock her down. So from Nid's perspective, okay, top is already winning. Mid is impossible to gank. What's left?
Bot lane.
And that's why it felt like she was always bot lane, because that was the only lane she could gank.
Yeah.
So, Now, why also would you want to be ganking bot lane?
I guess because that's kind of like a weaker lane. Because, I mean, they don't really like. I guess you could. They don't really have much mobility. Like Soraka just heals them, so I could pretty much take them down.
Yeah,
pretty quickly.
No mobility, so they have no escapes, right? Like Jhin, he doesn't have any dashes. He's not like Lucian, so like every few seconds he's eating over walls and stuff. The support isn't Thresh. You know, she can't throw a lantern to save him. She can literally just heal and silence when you come in and try to slow you for Q, which you can dodge if you're good. So these immobile bot lane champions are just sitting ducks for your Sejuani, or they should be. Also, you have Blitzcrank, right? So if they don't have dashes, what's it really easy for Blitzcrank to do?
Just hook them.
Yeah, just hook them for sure. And then Quinn has a blind. What kind of damage do AD carries do?
80 damage.
80 auto attack damage. If Quinn blinds him, what kind of damage is he not doing?
80 auto damage.
Yeah, so there's a lot of synergy bot lane. Another thing to think about, okay, you said they don't really have a tank, right? I mean, Nar's tanky, sure, but they don't really have, like, a true monster tank that's going to, like, be there. Like, because Nar is still building 2 damage items.
Yeah.
So how are they going to survive these team fights? Because you are a tank, and Blitz is a tank. And it looks like your Kled is a tank, too.
By taking out our back line as fast as they can, so they can, like... So, I mean, the tanks are the only ones alive, really.
Yeah, sure. Now, how are they going to do that? Let's say you land a perfect engage and everyone dumps all the damage on, right? How are they going to survive that?
They pretty much can. I guess if Soraka healed them.
Yeah, Soraka heal.
Right.
Wind Speakers, if you look at what it does, it makes her heals stronger. And remember, she's taking heal, too, as a summoner, which is goofy. So she has her ult, she has her W, which is like every few seconds, heal, 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 heal. She has her summoner heal, and then every one of these heals is 10% stronger and increases armor and magic resist by whatever, depending on her level. And then she has this item, which makes her healing even stronger, and she has this item, which as you build it, as you do damage, your healing heals even more. So there's like goofy stuff there. Actually, is this shielding or healing? Yeah, it's healing too. So she has a lot of heals, just way too many heals. So if they survive your initial burst, your initial all-ins, she can just heal them back up to full. So that's another reason I would be putting a lot of pressure on Soraka. Because if she doesn't have items, is she going to be able to do that as much? Is it going to be as impactful?
She can't heal as good.
Yeah, she can't heal as good if she's dead and not getting any farmer experience, right? So I think the decision is probably get these guys because... and also, if she is healing, these guys are kind of like mini tanks, right? Because sure, you're doing a bunch of burst damage, but if she's healing more than you can burst down... so is LeBlanc the one that's going to deal with that if she can't burst people down?
Yeah, LeBlanc's, like, she has no... She's like... She basically can't do anything if they're all healing up.
Yeah, like she jumps in to do her combo. Remember, it's over a few seconds because she has to like let her chain like stun and do stuff like that. Well, if Soraka's just standing next to whoever she's trying to kill and clicking W, is she going to be able to kill them?
No.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I wouldn't worry about this lane. I don't think she's going to carry. Kled, is Kled going to be able to beat the Gnar?
Probably not, no.
Probably not, because what's going to happen to him every time he tries to do anything?
Gnar's just going to auto him.
Yeah, because Gnar can be ranged, and when Gnar gets all beefy and big, I mean, he can just wait until he's small again or throw boulders in his face. Depends how the Gnar player plays. Or maybe the jungler's coming, he can slam him into a wall. I don't know. But I'm not going to rely on Kled to be doing damage, even though this guy is doing, like, sustained damage over time. But he's melee, he can be kited, Soraka can be healing through it. He's also going to be weaker from the laning phase just because he has a tough matchup. So I think what that leaves you with is you want to get your sustained AD carry, damage over time rolling. And at the same time, weaken these guys, and at the same time, these are way easier to gank than these guys that can jump and blink over walls and stuff. So I think that's why the decision to go bot makes a lot of sense.
Okay. There's also, like, another problem I have with this game. Like, it's happened sometimes, but, like, the LeBlanc was being, like, pretty toxic, and that wasn't the problem, because you can kind of just, like, mute him.
Yeah.
But she was, like, talking about, like, she kept saying, like, oh, she's plat or whatever, and she kept trying to make all these plays, and I had to come over there to try to, like, keep them from dying, and she kind of got the team into, like, engaging really bad fights, or
yeah, like
jungle when
My favorite quote talking about this game, sorry to cut you off, I just know exactly what you're going to say, that LeBlanc is bad. The way you win this game is you make the least amount of mistakes. Like, have you ever watched Korean LCS, like LCK?
Yeah, I have.
How many flashy plays do you generally see in like a 30-minute game?
Not that many.
Like 3, maybe, if it's an exciting game?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because they try to focus on farming, getting towers, and like less on getting kills, like trying to actually end the game.
Let me put it this way. That's true, but the main reason is they like money and winning. So, like, if you're doing flashy plays, is there a high probability that the flashy play is going to be pulled off, or a low probability generally?
Yeah, there's a lot of room for mistake.
There's a lot of room for mistakes and errors. So what the Koreans and all the smart players have figured out is, okay, cool, I'm just going to do maybe it's only a 51% edge on the house, Like the big plays. If I pull it off, oh my god, we're going to have a whole bunch of gold. It's going to be amazing. But if I screw up, we lost the game. Well, instead of that, they just do a bunch of, like, little baby plays that are barely even noticeable to the amateur players out there. And, like, they slowly whittle you down with superior micro and macro decision-making. And it's not flashy, but it's safe. And there's less room for error, and if they screw up, it doesn't completely throw the game. It's not like, hey, we're going to do Baron right now without vision, and we don't know where they are. It's not stuff like that. It's like, hey, we planned this out for 10 minutes. We know they are exactly bot lane. We can get this for free. This is going to give us, a huge swinging gold, 2,000 gold worth of golden stats and levels, and then pushing power afterwards. It's a bunch of little things like that, right?
Yeah.
So what you want to be focused on as a jungler who's trying to improve is consistent, good decision-making and minimizing your mistakes. Because the team that makes the least amount of mistakes is the team that wins. More often than not. It's not the team that makes the flashiest plays. And it's a game, you can do it for fun, but if you're just trying to win and actually get better, you're looking for, like, boring but consistent and smart play.
Okay.
And what's cool is, if you do that long enough, the flashy plays generally follow, because other players aren't doing that, and you'll just get this huge gold lead up there compared to everybody else because they don't know how to and they don't understand what's even happening to them, and they just know that they're down like 10,000 gold somehow. And then you have more wiggle room to do the flashy plays, because if you screw up, it's like, whatever. Oh, cool, I screwed up, and then you burst me down to 2,000 health because I'm a very fed Sejuani tank, or whatever. With Warmog, so I'm going to heal back up. I don't know. Something like that. But does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Just trying to bring it on home.
Yeah.
So games like this, like proper decision making, you want to get the Quinn fed, you want to get the Soraka not fed. Also, these guys are mobile, so easy ganks down there. A lot of kill pressure if the Blitz crank. Would have been nice if he took Ignite to cut through the healing, but whatever. Also, your Quinn needed not this one because they don't have tanks. She needed the Mortal Reminder, the one of Executioner's calling builds out of. But that would have been nice to make the team heal because Nidalee has heals too, 40% weaker. My 2 cents looking at a game I haven't watched.
Okay.
Alright, man, we're about 2 hours in. This is normally when I call it, just because by now my students are generally burnt out and not even listening to me anymore. But do you have any questions before we end?
Yeah, one more. About the Sejuani build. I usually follow builds on champion.gg. Are those good builds or
no?
Okay.
And let me tell you why. Because anytime I tell you something, I want to give you reasons. Because then you have someone to argue for or against. And I talk about this in a bunch of my lessons. So if you guys are regulars, apologies for this. So look at this build. Cinderhulk first. Dead Man's Plate. This shit. This is a pretty horrible build. I like these 3 items. I like the Merc Treads. These 2 items are shit.
Okay.
So why am I saying that these 2 items are shit? And why are these items good? Let's start with Cinderhulk. Is Cinderhulk a good first item? Yes or no, and why?
I'm guessing... I don't know. Sejuani is... That's like the tanky item, though, right?
That's the tanky item.
Yeah.
It is the tanky item.
Wouldn't that be good on Sejuani to kind of give her tankiness?
It's a fantastic item on Sejuani. But my question was not, is it a good item or not? Is it a good item first, is what I asked. Let me put it another way. Is Death Cap a good item?
Yeah.
Is it a good first item?
No.
Why?
Because you don't have other items, and it's also really kind of expensive and risky.
It's expensive, and it gets stronger the more AP you have, because it literally multiplies out the AP you have, right?
Yeah.
Well, Cinderhulk's the same way. If we look at it, and here's how I explain it to my students, because I have a lot of people trying to learn Sejuani, right? Yeah. So you're dropping it. It's 1625 gold for the Cinderhulk enchantment on top of your, Skirmisher's Blade or whatever, which is 1,000. So you're investing 2,600 gold in an item. Now, let's say you get Tracker's Knife just because it makes it easier. How much combat stats do you get from Tracker's Knife?
You mean 10% lifesteal against monsters, 180 base mana regen in the jungle, and then...
But combat stats, meaning I am fighting the enemy team.
No, you get none.
You get none. Now, if you get this, you get the mini exhaust, you get the extra true damage. If you get this, you get the true damage and the slow. Does Sejuani care about the slow?
No, she does already. She has enough.
Her entire kit is CC, and slows don't stack.
Yeah.
So, doesn't really give a shit about these, in my opinion. Alright, now, so, 1,000 gold, you're not getting anything that helps you win fights. So, in my opinion, that's a waste, especially in a game where you want to get stronger faster. So, again, you can force people out of lane, take towers, snowball the game, hopefully win. Hasn't been happening in my games. I'll probably play a few after this, too, if you want to watch the shenanigans that happen right now in Diamond 5 solo queue, which is a freaking nightmare. But anyway, let me go through and explain again. So if you're looking at what we're spending 1,600 gold, and we are literally getting 75% return. That means for every dollar spent, I'm getting 75 cents back in stats. Does that seem like a pretty good deal? You give me $1, I give you 3/4?
Not really.
No, it's a shitty deal. It's a bad time. And the reason is this right here, this bonus health, right? So early game, do you have a bunch of bonus health?
No.
No, and especially if you're buying this item. Sure, you get a little. 400 health is a lot. And this right here is saying 15% of that, is 60, so you get some extra gold worth of health. But pretty much if you buy this first item, this is like a health death cap. You're bad. And the reason being, you need bonus health for this to be cost efficient.
Okay.
And also, most of the stats it gives you, you can make an argument, hey, this passive, that does, here, let's say I just bought Cinderhulk at level 6 because I'm fed. It's doing 19 damage per second to nearby guys. Is that worth the extra 600 gold or so you spent on this item?
No.
Do you know what else does, 19 damage per second?
What?
Literally every other item in the game, if not more. So my thought process is, okay, well, I don't have to buy this because the way the game works right now, if you look at Tracker's Knife, right? Yeah. It builds out of these two things. Now, you need one of these. Do you know why you need one of these?
For the passive.
Yeah, for the passive that gives you experience so that you can actually, farm the jungle and level doing that. If you don't buy one of these items, you're just going to be screwed in the jungle, and you don't get Smite. Or actually, no, you have Smite. You need Smite to buy one of these items. I'm sorry. But if you don't have one of these items, you don't get the bonus experience from killing monsters.
Okay.
So you're going to fall behind. Now, do you need both of these items to get that bonus experience?
No.
Why?
It's a unique passive, so...
Oh, well, they're different. It's Tooth and Nail.
Well, not the unique passive, but the passive is the bonus experience on killing monsters, and
it's actually on Tooth and Nail.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, the Nail it's basic attacks, and then the Hunters
but the bonus experience is... I'm just being a dick. If you read down below, the bonus experience part does not stack with the passive Tooth.
Okay.
What I'm trying to get at is these don't stack. So in Season 5, you needed both of these to get the full bonus experience, so it was good to rush these so you could get stronger faster. But if you just sit on Hunter's Talisman, you get the same experience as if you fully upgraded to Cinderhulk.
Okay.
So what I'll often do on my Sejuani build is I will just get Hunter's Talisman, and I will buy the items that make me as strong as possible as early as possible. And that is not Cinderhulk first. Cinderhulk is the second or third item. And the reason for that is, here, what mastery do you usually take on Sejuani? What keystone?
Strength of the Ages.
So what does that do?
Gives you permanently increased health for the.
Yeah, it's really good,
Yeah.
especially because Sejuani does more damage the more health she has. So if you have 300 health, what's 15% of 300? 45?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you're getting an extra 45 health just from having this mastery fully stacked once you get Cinder Hulk, and that's because this gives you 15% bonus health. Sorry, League of Math coming at you, right? So there's stuff like that that matters. You want to buy Cinder Hulk when your Strength of the Ages is stacked up, when you have some other health items, because it's not cost efficient to buy it first.
Okay.
So that's one thing. What I recommend buying first is, because it's solo queue, I'm assuming you're playing, I usually rush this item on Sejuani, because it gives her more damage than literally any other item in the game.
Okay.
Do you think about why?
It gives her more health.
Gives her more health,
ability
which
power.
makes her Cinder Hulk stronger later. Gives her ability power. Every one of her abilities scales of ability power and sometimes health. This is amazing.
Yeah, magic pin and the passive that does percent health damage over time.
Yeah, so this is percent health damage over time, and if the enemy champions are slowed,
Oh yeah.
it doubles. So in Sejuani's kit, are there any things that like slow or CC?
Pretty much all of her abilities except for her W.
Yeah, and if you have 40% CDR, it's every 4 seconds you're hitting E. So
Yeah.
this is just ticking. This is an amazing build. If you engage, you get half of the enemy team's health if you land a 5-person ult, just because this is all ticking down. So I usually rush a couple Doran's rings. Same kind of reason as before, like 1 or 2. I like 2 personally because I can spam my abilities in the jungle. But if you look at the gold spent, 400 gold spent for... Can you guess how many stats I get for the 400 gold?
You get health, regen, and AP.
How much gold do you think it's worth, though?
I guess 400. I'm guessing 100% or 90.
Nope. So
a lot more.
I spent 400 gold. I'm getting 736 gold worth of stuff, and that's not counting the passive. So the ability power alone, 15 ability power worth about 300 gold. The health worth about 160. That alone, I'm already up there. The mana regen, I'm already up there. And then this passive, which is not unique, so if I get 2 of them, if I kill a camp, I actually gain mana. Because if I do the chickens, right, there's four creeps there. Each ring gives me 4 mana per creep, so that's 16 mana per creep. If I have 2 rings, that's 32 mana for each one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My W only costs 25 mana once I level it up all the way. So what I'm trying to say is I can spend my gold on items like this that, like, I give you $1, you give me pretty much $2 back. And then when I run out of space, I sell them for 160 too, so I'm really only paying 240 for the investment. It makes me insanely strong compared to Cinder Hulk, which, like we said, is shit because it doesn't give you combat stats, and it isn't even gold efficient until you get some more health. And then this also sets me up to like get a bunch of kills and farm a little bit better because this speeds up my clear of the extra damage, and having the mana regen means I can get blue buff to my mid laner, or if it gets stolen, it doesn't matter. I still like heal back up. Then that lets me farm my Leandries, which then lets me have all the damage I'll need in the game, and then I can build Strength Tank after that.
All right.
So
Then,
I said a whole bunch of stuff. If you're curious and want to see it, I have not been having the best luck in solo queue. Yesterday I played hungover after a long car ride, and it was not pretty. But the builds here are pretty good. Granted, my team, I think I had a couple games where my bot lane gave up 30 kills.
all right.
Like, they died 30 times in
Oh,
a single
man.
game, which is...
That's
Like I try to stay positive, but I was rewatching that game at lunch today, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think this one was my fault. And there's always stuff you can do better, but sometimes there are games you just can't win. But anyway, so going back to it, the builds on here, take them with a grain of salt. Generally, they're right, but right now there are challenger players that are building Cinder Hulk first on their junglers because their analysts need to be fired.
all right.
And the reason is math. Would you rather have more stats or less stats? It's not a hard argument. Would you rather have more money worth of stats or less money worth of stats? You know what I'm saying? Would you rather do your job better or worse? Like you can try to argue against me. We can do it, but I don't think you're gonna win.
All right.
Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about Dead Man's real quick because I hate this item on Sejuani. Why is this a bad item on Sejuani?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's armor and health.
It's armor and health. She likes armor and health. I like that I can just type Dead Man's and the League of Legends thing comes up. So the 500 health, she loves the health. But, you know, there are other items that give health. There are other items that give armor.
Yeah.
So we're really comparing it to like an item like Randuin's or a Thorn Mail and a Warmog, something that gives an equivalent amount of stats, right? So this one right here, this gives a whole bunch of movement speed. Do you know what this passive is generally for?
No. Like just being fast.
Yeah, just being fast. So it's really good on champions that need to catch people. So think like Singed, or think like Hecarim, who just wants to go insanely fast because he gets more damage the faster he is. Or like Vi, who's trying to get into range so she can ult a high priority target. You know, so people that need to actually run fast. Every Juggernaut, so Skarner, Garen, Mordekaiser, Darius, people that need to close gaps so that they can get in there. My question to you, does Sejuani have trouble closing gaps and engaging?
No.
Why not?
Because she has a Q that's pretty low cooldown, and she has a lot of CC.
She has her Q, she has her ult, she can flash mid-Q to extend it.
Yep.
I mean, like, she's not going to have trouble catching people, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And then once she catches them, what's the next button she clicks once she lands that beautiful 5-person ultimate?
Click E, and then you can slow them down.
And now they're slowed.
Damage. Yeah.
So this is kind of overkill. You don't need this to catch people because your kit is literally designed for catching people.
Yeah.
And you don't need this, you know, cool, you do a little extra damage and you slow someone. Wait, your entire kit is slows though, right?
Yeah.
Do slows stack?
No.
No. So if you look at the cost analysis, you're paying, 2,900 gold to get 2,300 gold worth of stats, and that means that this, which is really, really good, if you look at it, has to be worth more than the rest of it. And like if you had boots, you probably don't need this, and boots are cheaper. And Randuin's will keep you alive longer once you catch people and jump into the middle of them.
Okay.
So generally my thought process is, okay, well I don't really need this movement speed to catch people, so why am I wasting money on it? And the slow and the on-hit doesn't really do anything because it's not my job to do damage and I already have slows, so why am I wasting money on it? When I could buy, a Randuin's or a Thornmail if they're all auto-attack, something like that.
Okay.
So again, some of these builds are good, some of them are shit. Just take it with a grain of salt. Another thing I don't like about this is you have no damage in this. You're just completely relying on your W and your teammates to do damage, and that's fine. Like if I'm playing with challenger players, and I know every one of them is going to do their job, I will be as tanky as possible and make sure that I stay alive as long as possible. But in solo queue, you're going to get a bunch of bad players, like that LeBlanc we were talking about earlier. So I would hedge my bets a little and start with one damage item. You usually want to buy it first, because if you don't buy it first, damage items are more expensive than take items. It's hard to buy it later if you're behind.
Alright.
So on Sejuani, I would recommend a Liandry's. On other champions, depends who they are. Like if it's an AD champion, Liandry's obviously not as good. But something like that. And you're looking at the items from, I need to be strong early. Is Cinderhulk the best choice? And just evaluate them. Look at the items. Look them up on the wiki. Look them up on Google, and you can figure out from there. Or ask a coach, or ask me a question on Twitter or Twitch or whatever, and I'm happy to answer for you.
All right.
But that's how you figure it out.
All right.
All right, cool. Sorry, I tried to do that quickly because we're like 2 hours deep into this session.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
All right, cool. More questions?
Nope, that's it.
All right, helpful?
Definitely.
Awesome. Now, if you want to do another session or something, and you have like more targeted questions, I'm happy to go super deep and be like, this is the optimal item build that will let you do this thing faster than anything. We can get super nerdy, get super detailed. We can do like replay reviews, whatever you want, man. Just sign up for another session. We'll make it happen.
All right.
All right. Have a good night, my friend, and good luck.
All right. Thank you so much, man.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, we did it. Skype call was excellent.